kind of comes down more so to, are MIBR going to be that like world beater team, or are they going to have a rougher start? And can All Gamers almost force them into a spot where they're struggling a little bit more? Because as I said, I think of the two teams, All Gamers so far have been a little bit more consistent.
Well, we heard about the hunt for Tex trying to take him down, whether it be on the attack side for MIBR, where he'll be playing that lurk, or here, solo side, holding towards the C site, while the rest of MIBR push up, take some space towards this A site.
Bring them down.
And indeed, they will continue pressing forward all the while. AG don't react. They simply sit back. I think they're waiting for that overextension, or to hear the steps back and see that the A site would be a little bit more open, but that push is coming through. Eventually, the Prowler confirms it, and a clean opening shot from Aspis. MIBR happy with that. They bail out. Still with info on C with a player there, and a trap for B, but it does look like the hunt for Tex is about to come on. Oh, maybe not. Very slow in the attack.
Yeah, sit back waiting. The attack. Not sure what they're searching for. Maybe expecting further aggression, or
Pull those A main players over to B, I think.
yeah. But the thing is, with Aspas just not moving, well, there's the contact, and then the other two players can come back towards the door. So you've not really gained anything other than finally getting the A control, but 30 seconds left. Smoke is going to hold them back. Two players on the cross. In fact, Aspas isn't even checked for. The trades, though, are good. Puts them into a more even scenario. The push back as well from Bai is perfect. That late lurk has given them the B site, given them a huge advantage, and put Mazzino in a clutch.
Mazzino creeping in from this angle. They don't think he was in that initial push, despite the util that went down. They thought he rotated out, but one's all he'll get. I love this mid-round from AG. Look, they were in a pretty tough spot, having to push into the Cypher utility. They don't know it wasn't there. We could see it wasn't. But having to push towards that C site, they knew they'd lost A main, and instead they swing open the door, wait a moment, and hope that those players pushed up holding that first choke point would fall back. So instead of a battle, they just get Aspis spotting them and then bailing out.
Yeah,
there, I think not clearing that corner was a little bit of an oopsie, but
this was
that
the
was
big
the play.
moment.
Leaving by there the entire round. He waited for probably a minute outside B, and the timing was perfect.
Yeah, I would say that it still made me feel a little bit worried that, like, you get the opening kill, Aspas also gets away with murder, and it does basically come down to a clutch play from Bai to win out that round. If that trips even a little bit deeper, you're probably not winning it, but they do get things over the line. That's the most important thing, at least. But the defensive side, not much going to be invested into this one. DRQ, well, a chance, maybe. And instead, it's going to be Kira.
Planning bodies just protecting that C walk up. Got A main space. Cam should be destroyed. I know it's being heard, but I think it's behind the wall on A, so there's not really much that be done for Fangir to remove that without a big risk. And up against an eco, it's not really the time to be taking those risks. And in the first round, the patience most certainly paid off. This time around, it could be the same. They have plenty of utility. A Paranoia being lined up and primed up. Finds two, finds all three, in fact. That should already be some alarm bells ringing. Indeed, they'll go back in the other direction towards where that Cypher cam was, the expected lighter side of the map, but MIBR are hot on their heels, just not quite there quick enough.
I think the amount of space that Fangir had already taken, of course, only risking the Marshal, puts them in a spot where they can just run through all of the angles as they did in the last round. Well, that's a bit of a surprise. I didn't know the full force of his opposition were walking up behind. Maybe expecting that Vice Wall to be out towards C long rather than holding on to B, so they caught a good timing. Of course, for Bai, that Bucky can be risked, but anything else would be incredibly costly. 3 rifles in play that could be brought into the next round, and Tex has done incredibly well. 2 quick kills off the Classic. The remaining couple of players are not in a particularly good spot. They have to run in here because that spike has been tapped. Even still, though, they've turned it back into an advantageous position from Verno. Any additional kills would be great, but he comes up against the one healthy player. A rifle is still lost, but at least they get the round, which, considering what was invested, I shouldn't be saying that.
No, yeah, we should not be looking for silver linings in a round like this. That was huge work by Tex. Turns out he was the hunter in there with a Classic, basically getting it done with a bare knuckle brawl, and that's crazy. to find the two of them that quick. It's not like the second guy could have been surprised that he was there. 2-0 for all gamers, but some bumps in the road early on. Still, they can course correct. They can ignore all those earlier issues if they find the W here. MIBR putting the credits on the line. And again, we'll see that A main aggression a little lighter this time with 3. Nade going deep.
Good nade.
It's going to force them back, and Aspas a little closer than they might expect. He's got his refract. He can fall right back, so he goes in for the pick. Finding nothing, and will concede at least a bit of that A main control. I imagine, though, here you're just going to leave Zekin, based on the current positions around Rubble, and have those rotations now, especially that Tex has spotted players outside C.
Yeah, the early decision from the attack was just play more of a death ball, but they had the wall covering for any push-up. And it does seem like MIBR are almost having to figure out where they're going. Prowler has gone through on B. You kept the aggression outside A. There was a jump spot onto C. Like, because they're playing so far back towards the spawn, it's making it troublesome. Clearing some of those early angles. Now, bear in mind, Zekin doesn't have a whole lot of support, but if he can hit a shot and get out of there, he's done his job, and that's exactly what he does. It's
the same approach as the pistol round. They're going to go late towards A main, hoping that that presence has been relinquished. They brawl for it, losing a player already, and then send by for the late lurk through B. They might even try to crunch B, but the problem is MIBR are so aware of this. They're not going to fall for the same trick twice, but with Mazzino down, now they're under pressure. Aspas, no longer a surprise in the corner, but he's ready for buy. Catches him, finds another, and at least gives MIBR a chance in the 3v2. The plant, 10 seconds, it needs to be found soon, and they can flood back in. They can deny this, but instead taking their time, closing the walls in slowly. As all gamers have no real space to play with. They know heaven's clear, but they want a battle. They want to brawl early, and it will be towards Zekin, where one falls. The flood out washes the rest of the defense away. That's going to be all gamers losing out on the third round, but still trading a couple of blows, and there was a real chance in the 2v3.
I think it was mainly Aspas in this round that manages to stop it getting out of control, because the fact they're able to take over that door control, leave it down to just him, and then he has to fight 2 players at once, basically from different angles. And it's only because it's a little bit disjointed. I think
like
Bai basically tried to trade off the initial shots, going, okay, he's fighting my teammates, I can just swing, and then his teammates aren't swinging. So that's where it kind of falls apart.
GRQ swung in looking the wrong way, which is unusual when he'd already been spotted, right? They knew Aspas was there, and I think it was just a microsecond of miscommunication that led to Aspas getting a second bite of the cherry and the numbers being favored to MIBR on the way back through. Still, it was a clean retake. The defensive side. Even a stinger on Mazzino in this round.
I think it's clear that the defense think this is going to be C fight. After denying them A and obviously having this fallback early, they had 3 players stacked up on C. They had the Waylay ready and raring to go. And then they had the Cypher set up over on A as more of a delay. But again, it's very, very slow from all gamers. Taking their time. This time slowly walking through that A position.
That first trip is predictable, but the second, we should see the smoke go down on the stairs and then the Neon try to slide through on the site. With it being so low, there's a decent chance that's going to catch her. And that gives Tex a kill trip if they're not quick enough to react to breaking it. Remember that time going down recently. Tex already taking a few shots and a nade now. That might stop him from being able to punish, and they go right over the trip. In fact, breaking it is the nade. Tex still manages to find one, but the showstoppers fired his way, dodges that as well, and the numbers stay favorable for the defense.
Yeah, he did get one off the kill trip. He did find one that was revealed. Convergence path used as well, and Kira knows he has to try and execute off of that. JRQ's done well, so is Bai. Actually, they're fighting this back! The remaining 2 looked like they were in trouble. Instead, they were the trouble. 2 standing in Verno's way. He had an exceptional first game. Was almost a hard carry in a team full of superstars, but he's now trying to bait them in, hoping that someone makes the mistake, someone goes looking in towards the spike, but they're not falling for it. Now baiting in for a second time, but it is Bai from behind that will close out the round. He's 7-1 right now, only being shut down once by Aspas, and other than that, being the star of the show.
I can't believe how confident they were right there. All gamers played that so cool, but he could have stuck it inside the smoke. They just knew he wouldn't have the gall to do such a thing. Gave him plenty of time, but in the end, they made the right call. 3-1 now for all gamers. And after what was, you know, some warning signs early on, like round 2 was way closer than it should have been. We could have seen MIBR come up with rounds very early on. Well, now the defense is left down to an eco. Now all gamers should extend that lead even further, and this is a phenomenal start. Starting to think back to the game against Global Esports for MIBR, and it seems like a long time ago.
It's interesting as well because we are seeing MIBR winning a lot of the opening battles. The pistol round, even in the lower buy round as well. They've been able to get opening picks, and then all gamers have converted the 4v5 almost every single time. So it seems like them getting into the post plant is almost enough. And that was what, a 2v4 that they're able to turn back into their favor. MIBR are getting themselves in good positions, but the conversion just hasn't been there.
Well, they're certainly aware that Tex could be here, but Bruno might try to play the distraction. Oh, he's being spotted, though. Getting back out of there is still a success for him. The pistol on range like that. All gamers, despite seeing the Cypher towards the C site, they decide to contact up here to play into it. And remember, last round, Tex was able to get some value out of the closer trip. It's the nade that destroyed his. This one won't quite reach, so there is still a danger there. They've gone over it to start, and there at least a boombot will reveal the trip on the floor. That's the real danger averted, not that anyone could pounce on the back of it. Now pistols on the retake. Unless they can deny the plant.
Oh, hello.
Nade's going to do some good damage. Trips on
lucky
one.
Boy. Very, very lucky. Now, I am looking at that 9-4. A lot of the time, one kill is enough to trigger it. We've seen that in the past, especially with pistols. Puts them down to low HP. And actually, the pressure being held on the other side. But now they should know that the majority coming in from the spawn. Paranoia sent through. Still not enough to activate that Nightfall. And you can see why. Slowly being picked apart, and one by one, the defensive side will fall. A good hold from the side of all gamers, even Shrimp surviving on just 1 HP, but they won't mind. That's 4 alive.
Yeah, well, honestly, Shrimp surviving is probably the most important factor of that, because if not, they might decide to put the Nightfall through. Like you said, I think there's a good chance that they do, just spur of the moment.
And he couldn't put his through, which gave them the information that there wasn't anybody towards the waterfall.
A really nice play as well by Bai. His flash was perfect. The second that they came out to take the battle, I think it might have been the end of Kira if that hadn't have popped exactly when it did. And that's a number of rounds now where MIBR, despite early on showing signs of life, have been kind of shut out. It has been all gamers looking like they've got full control, and now a timeout is going to be called very early on. Remember, this map in this tournament started out so well for MIBR. They stepped onto the stage 13-2'd, if memory doesn't betray me on this one. Global Esports. And then from there, it was a labored overtime against Heretics. And I think that honestly took the wind out of MIBR's sails. They went into the next map and got absolutely trashed. So that kind of turnaround, it feels like, you know, most teams we look at is kind of wanting to heat up as the tournament goes on, whereas it feels like MIBR put their best foot forward in that first game, and then they took a bit of a stumble.
Yeah, I think as well, you have to think back even to the very beginning of the year with all gamers not being a massively known quantity when it comes to the international stage. That event felt like a learning curve, but also people looked at, I think it was Gentlemates, and went, oh, they got all gamers next, they're going to get through that game. And it was underestimating their opponent, and also all gamers being a decent squad. Like, they've got some very talented players on their side. Now, sure, the names are on the other side. And, well, an early fake plant, but that fake hasn't really done too much. It's been spotted. It has pulled 3 players over, but again, they can get back. Verno under serious pressure, though, and now the response being attempted. It's not been connected by one, but it has been found by Mazzino.
Yeah, Mazzino was a bit too quick, got ahead of the rocket. But a kill's kill, that's all that matters. Tangier, oh, he's going to be taken out by Aspis, an angle he checked just moments ago. Nightfall goes through and a player up close, isolated, caught off guard, you would think, but GRQ somehow gets away with that kill. The spam taking him low and Aspis taking him out. Leaves it 3v2. Still a chance for all gamers here. Kira, the unknown quantity, the later play through mid.
Bring them down.
No nade left to play with. Oh, that's tough. Shrimp's being caught by the Seas. Out of the round and damage done. Looks good for all gamers. Aspis and Tex holding on for dear life by a thread, but they've made it through. It's the second round for MIBR.
I feel like it's been the case in both rounds where Aspas has found the most impactful kills to sort of turn it into their favor, like having to deny what was an incredibly fast take. And sure, the spams helped pushing players into his position, but they still expended an awful lot into this round. And of course, for the attack side, having a few in a row, they should comfortably be able to buy back into this one. I think Kira's just having the thought of what to go for. This now needs to be the springboard for the defense. A few players surviving, give them a bit of extra to buy back up with, but they would still be in trouble in the next round if they were to lose all their players.
Well, we have certainly seen the patience from all gamers. A lot of these attack rounds have started like this. Full default in play. By this time covering the Vice wall for that A aggression, making sure there's no early flank. That's a risky blast pack, but a lot of information garnered, but a player lost. Tex gets out. Aspas, of course, is no trouble. Being able to dash right back to the site, and for their trouble, all gamers get an orb, but they're a man down, and Shrimp down as well. It's a player who's really helping to clear these angles and get you into sites. Gotta go a bit more blind now.
Yeah, I feel like he still has been, though, the guy that's been picked off quite often earlier in the rounds. Like, they have been using the Prowlers, but he's currently 1-6 and having a bit of a rough time. In some of their earlier matches, he was incredible. He was by far their best player. But that does also mean, as said, from the 4v5s, all gamers have done a good job at recovery. Into the site they go. Again, the trip is there, but it's been spotted. They haven't broken it, though. They didn't break it. The boom ball went through, but it goes straight back online. That gave Tex a freebie, and now Aspas is the defender of the site. A bit of a weird scenario, because that trip coming back online, sure, it was only the 1-for-1 trade, but it did make things a little bit easier for Tex.
Yeah, listen.
I think he's there.
If Tex is going to... I actually looked over where you played.
You did. Well. I was thinking...
I was like, Tex is there. I think he's playing, bro.
Did you sleep okay?
That confused me. I did, actually. I think I overslept last night, and now it's starting to catch up on me.
You look straight into a wall like, no, he's not.
Where is he?
No, wait, he's on the stage.
Okay, well, that was a confusing moment for me. But as I'm sure that last round was for all gamers, giving away the pick and giving Tex the opportunity, and it seems like MIBR capitalizing on every chance they're given. A 5 versus 3 right off rip. We said it's been these slower rounds from all gamers, but this was an attempt to change pace, to challenge for that A main that MIBR have been throwing utility at early, at least trying to manage, that all gamers have been leaving the Vice wall outside and conceding the space, fighting late for. This time they go aggressive, and it does not work out, at least to start. They've got themselves A main, whoop-dee-dee, but I think the orb's about the biggest reward they've got.
The 2-for-1, well, 2-for-1 orb trade. Not the greatest deal on Earth.
Someone taking it.
Again, they've ground to a halt. This double duelist 1-2 punch is one of the most terrifying on Earth, especially facing into a high-low. You'd bet your house on one of them to hit it. And that's exactly what they've done. For Shrimp, well, he's alive later into the round. Nice work from Hero. They've got to be careful. They've already lost 2v4 in this game, and I think that's why we saw the pause. A 2v5, and they might have to use their second.
One more for Kieran. It's a showstopper, but with Shrimp down now, and that paranoia perfectly placed. Yeah, his chances go to 0. Still gets out with the showstopper for the next round, but for MIBR, after what was, as we said, round 2, there were signs of life. They won round 3, but then started to get shut down, and it seemed like all gamers were going to run away with this. Bai was having fantastic impact on the lurks in terms of denying the retakes as well. I don't even think we saw the Thorns delay as much as they could have, but it worked because when they pushed in, the flash was there to catch. Now things have stalled out massively. 3 rounds in a row, and a convincing start to that one. I think it's no surprise that they go for the timeout.
Yeah, and I think similarly as well to what we saw from Creven, the last Lotus that we casted, those trips are being really annoying. Like when they've tried to get into the C site or A, I think we've seen multiple kill trips, which a lot of the time you're going to be able to avoid, especially if you have the likes of a Raze. You can use that nade to good effect to try and get rid of some of the angles that you're pushing. But then, like, hitting it with a boombot, not breaking it, those are silly mistakes. And I think these are moments that you're going to want to see the coaching staff pick up, because then you go for a harder, more aggressive, let's just fight A, and you lose both fights immediately. That's a little bit more worrying. And seeing some of the superstars on MIBR, that's why there's so much sort of pressure, but also put in high regard on this team. These are players that from top to bottom we've talked about as superstars of their team. I even think like one of my favorite players to watch of all time is Mazzino back in the crew days. That guy has unbelievable individual talent. So you're then looking at the likes of Aspas and Tex getting going. Maybe you want to pause just to try and slow them down a little bit, which is easier said than done.
Well, Tex at least, it's been high impact off of his utility, be it on the A or the C site. Now he swapped up to the B site just to be more of a headache. Any adaptations that they had around his impact will now have to be readjusted. And it does appear that all gamers are going for this approach. Look at where the Vice wall is, and look at where Vice is. The gap here is the C push, and this is because they intend to be relatively quick. Making presence towards the A side, opening the door, sure. But I think this is a B split, which is the perfect round for MIBR when they have put all of their fortifying utility towards that site. They've got players in position in the form of Aspas with big utility, or big ultimates in the back pocket in the convergence path. As much as they're delaying, oh no, I think they've adjusted to A. The spike's going in, they're going to go for it.
They've ended up with a lot of space.
Weird Vice wall for this.
The defense are about to try and make a play through the smoke, which versus the pistols is definitely a bit of a gamble. And there is Shrimp. Said he's been the hero of a lot of rounds. It's only going to be the one as well for Aspas off the back of his ult. Verno a little bit further away. And this contact through the smoke was hoping for so much more, and it gets almost nothing. It is a quick round, or quick close, I should say, for the attack side. And after the pause, they're able to immediately find a response. But that's going to be a frustrating one, because as you said, it looked like the setup was going to be correct. I think especially more of a default round that you get with a low buy is heading in towards that B site. But they get caught trying to walk through utility.
Yeah, you know, it's very weird because the whole round to me looked like all gamers were primed. Like that Vice wall is so weird to put if you're covering the B walk up. I don't know what they saw. I'm led to believe that they changed it mid-round. I don't know why, but it was the perfect read. And a great play to get 5 on the board of all the rounds holding that smoke walk up. And now look at GRQ. Walked right through a position that they've been hating nonstop, but he just TPs across a little later. And the reward, Aspas in the ground, Mazzino following, and a showstopper to drop second. All gamers looked like they had slowed down, but they just took a break. They're right back to winning ways.
Finally see the Aspas AWP, but it gets absolutely nothing. Just shut out by a player walking across, and it was definitely something that they were not aware of. Verno trying to fight back alone. Bear in mind the economy of MIBR is not in a particularly good spot. And the Tech's going for a 1v5. I'll be honest, that seems really audacious. Holding onto the weaponry, at least from my perspective, holds a lot more value than attempting an all-in gamble of a retake.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think for the start of this, the thing we're missing compared to a normal setup, right? You see that rubble fight. Normally you've got your Omen TPing up, taking the rubble control. You've got a Neon sliding through. In this case, maybe an Aspas diving deep, but he had the op, so he didn't want to. They didn't go for that last round, and that small gap left was enough for all gamers to step in and take that control. Now a buy for MIBR that sees a weak weapon on Aspas, and Mazzino, but the rest on a full buy, and the adjustment is there. The dash up this time quickly clears rubble after the nade. They know that there's no one here. But all gamers have changed pace. No longer this direct approach. No longer looking to steal the map control or wrestle it out of the hands of their opponents. Instead, they've pumped the brakes again. And I've really liked watching the variance of how they're approaching this. I think it's very hard for MIBR to read this pace.
Oh yeah, it creates an awkward line in the sand, especially when you have this double duelist. You want to be putting pressure on. So you're going to have early map control, but then they've been happy to sort of default back late into the round. At least in this one, all of Tex's utility is gone. 45 seconds left as they look to try and clear positioning once again. This time there is a player up close, but he's already been caught. Verno, we've seen him get cleared from this position, but they're looking to try and battle and brawl for this, really try and fight for this. And it even seems like they might have had the expectation that maybe they would just leave, but no. They're continuing this pressure and now going all the way back. They've played the late lurk so perfectly.
No more thorns.
That, okay, they're eventually going to take their space, maybe worried that there's a trip, as there has been almost every single time, but there's nothing Tex can really do about this.
No, forced to give them the plant. As I said, this pace from all gamers has been a nightmare in this round, even more so, but it's showstopper! Oh my back here! That is a lifeline for all gamers. That could have been a double opener, but instead, the numbers, they say even for now.
I know exactly.
MIBR kept back, and with the op taking Mazzino out and Aspas, they have no choice but to concede. Surely, no, they press on, they press forward into Fangir. A 4K for the Neon as all gamers push up to 7. A guaranteed lead at the half, and what a resurgence from this squad.
I'll be honest with you, I thought he won them the round with the first op shot that he hit, and then he hits 3 more after that. That is a beautiful round from Fangir, because Zekum was, I want to say, 0.2 of a second from eliminating 2 players on his team.
I think he clicked the second he died. Like, that was ridiculous.
It was such a fast reaction shot, and then everything else from there on was just perfect from Fangir. It's an operator that I don't believe he would have even bought. It was one that he picked up off the corpse of Aspas and then used it to their own demise. What was a level scoreline, came a pause for all gamers, and now they find themselves with a pretty hefty advantage. For the last one, might put them out of sight.
Go, go, go.
Mazzino claimed the orb outside A. Nightfall now for MIBR. If all gamers go for the B push, and listen, any other team, look at what the Vice wall is. Look at where all 5 players were just moments ago. Any other team, I'd already be saying, and here they go, they're ready to break into the B site. But I've learned my lesson. I've learned my lesson from these guys. They play a very weird game. I don't think I've seen a round like that. They give up all control, go late back towards it, look to fight. Nate's perfect, by the way. It's caught Mazzino. It's left him down to 46 HP. It's got the Nightfall out of them as well. Hey, this is such an annoying game to play against, because for MIBR, of course, you want to go pushing up. Of course, you want to take space. You want to find information. And as you do, you lose Mazzino now. Your low HP player, you flood back out through these doors with no idea that a flank is on its way. The ult now popped, and look who's right behind you. Fangir! Beautiful from all gamers. They are playing a cerebral game, and MIBR, they're not even coming close to getting a read.
That's just perfect. We said it. They had one bad round in terms of timing, where Bai ends up getting caught. And since then, since the pause, every single double back or wrap around has been utterly perfect. A player that goes from being the hard entry, goes into a lurk, goes back to hard entry, back into lurk again. Like, you've got to be sat there on the other side of MIBR trying to call this, going, okay, they're pressuring A, let's take B. There was a guy B, let's go back, let's hold there. And you're just having to wrap around consistently. And then when you're finally in the fight, you go, okay, they are A, and then someone swings you from behind and kills 2 of your players.
I genuinely think of all the games that we've cast, of all the games we've watched so far, this map in particular, because we've cast even all gamers before, and I wouldn't say this was anywhere near the level that they're putting up. This is some of the best calling on the attack. And I know that because I'm just trying to imagine playing against it. I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the MIBR players and pretend that I could actually hit shots as well. And it's so annoying because they give you so many false signals. You're pushing early, you're seeing the space is clear. They fight back for that space late. So late that it seems that that's clearly where the hit's coming in. And then there's a double flank from the other side. Sometimes they wrap all the way back to the other side of the map. Really impressive stuff from them. And again, this started out, I felt like MIBR were the ones to take command of this series, but it has been anything but.
No, it's been very impressive. And it also forced MIBR into basically doing very similar things. Like, I think one of the main problems I had was you look towards Rubble. I think this spot, Thank you. That was perfect. Unintentional, but perfect. The amount of players that I saw play on that rubble wall, either get by a nade or hit by a seize, they were saving a piece of utility every single round to kill that player. And I don't think once I saw them get out alive.
Well, this is the thing. They were doing that before they were even competing for that spot. And that's why you can then have Omen TP across, because they throw their first utility. And then they don't fill that space in because they know that you're going to fight for it or at least throw utility there. So they play a little further back. And now your Omen's able to slip the net and get behind Aspas and take down the first Aspas op we saw bought. Like,
And then the next round kill 4 people with it.
Yeah, literally. The next round use that same weapon. I'm so impressed by what I've seen here. Even just from round like 4 onwards, where I thought MIBR were getting back into things. Round 2 was close, round 3 was good, and then for all gamers, they just ran away with things. Back to the pistol now. MIBR get to play out this attack side, and I'm curious to see how all gamers approach the defense. You can see Vice set up. The wall is covering the A push. There's a flash that won't last very long on B after that initial burst.
Got the sight. Put themselves in a post plant with little to no resistance. The attack side, though, are not just sitting back. Aspas is pushed up, and he knows his opponent's on the other side. Both players, in fact, have the information. The attackers fall back and almost force their opponents away from that position. Although saying that, Buying now goes into a later flank. Paranoia is perfect, but they're going to stand close. And that means that kills all too easy. Kira in position to try and trade some of this back, but the shots aren't firing. Eventually does get one, but the trades are just too thick and too fast. Leaves only one standing, and By, the last man in, will fall as well. A lifeline for MIBR, a pistol.
Yeah, lose this pistol, and I think all gamers are running away with it, but claiming this should at least give them that little injection of rounds, close in the gap, provide that opportunity to fight right back. But to be honest, what I'm most afraid of isn't even necessarily the score line right now. It's that Fangir seems to have hit a gear that we didn't see him on throughout the last few games. And GRQ, 13-6, he has been a consistent factor for this squad. Considering that he's shown up, Fangir's been there, and Bai's been having a lot of space on those lurks. I think here, early flanks could play a role. Nah, that's not going to work. That's a nice try. A little smoke in mound. I love the attempt on the classic Bai, but MIBR, they've got that cam to clear.
I do think it's good, though, that now MIBR get the opportunity to set the pace. Like, I think Verno's been having a rough time trying to deal with everything that's been thrown at him from the all-gamer side. But now you get to define where those battles are. Even if you end up walking into a stacked site, at least you have the execution utility. Not bad from Bai already, though, of course, for MIBR. This is a slightly lighter purchase, just a couple of rifles alongside pistols and a Marshall. They can, of course, buy into the next round, but it's mainly those couple of guns you don't want to lose, and so far, it's looking so good. They'll keep everything onto the board, get themselves up to 6, and then maybe even have an upgraded rifle or 2 to go back into this one with.
Indeed, for MIBR, things looking to pick up, but this is the real test coming up now for them. All gamers in with a full buy. Fangir playing the outlaw. Looking at the other side, there's not too many players that he can catch with that one shot, but MIBR are going towards A. There's going to be a nade coming their way. There's going to be a paranoia prep for GRQ. In fact, it's only the boombot to start. Gear's keeping the nade a little bit later. It's a shame. This time we could see it would have probably eaten a bunch of those HP bars. Obviously, have a different idea for later on. Still with the season nade. Prowler ready to go through. Should grab the information, but
X is almost dead.
yeah, he's been exploring the C site, and he met the outlaw heads up.
Bear in mind, there's an outlaw on either side, but at least for now, the one it will maybe benefit even slightly more is Aspas, because there are 3 players on the other side that will take that as an operator.
I'm out of here.
Again, a slower pace with Fangir just trying to find out information. He gets it, spots multiple players on that side of the map, and now this somewhat ruse that's being sent on A doesn't hold anywhere near as much value. the defense are actually giving nothing. They're just sitting all the way back, similarly to what we saw on the other side. But it's whether or not they can bait the rotations the right way. And looking at a solo defender of GRQ, who's about to get some support, but will it be too little too late?
He can still get out of here. Still with a shrouded step if he needs it. And he may well need it, but he's sticking around. He's looking for the battle, and Aspis has got him!
Oh!
And Kira! A headshot on that second swing! Bought them all the space to get this plant and a man advantage under their belt as a result. MIBR have just been gifted the upper hand by Aspis.
Yeah, it's the gift you get when you purchase one of the best players to ever touch the game, and that double opener sets them up in aggressive positions. Fangit maybe hopeful to get something here, and now they've spotted the remaining player. It's the 1-2 punch, the bait taken, and Mazzino with an easy frag in the end. Fangit has no choice but to try and run for the hills. And what started as a bonus round that had a Marshall and some weaker weaponry, even the Outlaw in the mix for Aspas, which, well, clearly wasn't a weaker weapon, now turns into them currently having 4 rifles, some mass upgrades, and a fantastic start to the second half.
For Aspas to get the first kill was impressive, but to then swing deep with 1 bullet left in the Outlaw, he had 100% confidence he was hitting that headshot, and for good reason too. Like, look at this, 1 shot left, and he goes, screw it. Does he know that guy's low? No, he doesn't have a clue. He thinks, I need to hit his head, or I'm going to 140 and probably get traded. But we got 10 seconds. We need a plant. Screw it. Throws it out there. It works. And all gamers now, after a strong first half, an 8-4 scoreline where they did look like they had their hands glued to the reins. Now it's come back to bite them. That gap has closed into just 1. And MIBR, hot on their heels like this, gets a timeout from that side.
Yeah, the last pause they had was what took them from a 4-4 scoreline all the way to winning the half.
Yep.
But this will be their second pause taken. And for Ed 101, this is an opportunity to potentially do the same again, like try and get them back. Because this is definitely not the end of the world so far, but I think you definitely see Aspas able to basically fight 2 players at once and come out on top, and you do start to worry a little bit that this map could slip away from them. And of course, for MIBR, this is important because they are going into what is their own map choice split coming up next, which I think is still a fairly comfortable pick for them. I was maybe surprised that we didn't see all gamers go a slightly different way. But you're not going to want to go in with a deficit, and they are still currently around behind, although the signs of this attack side have been fairly promising.
Well, it looks like all gamers have got a decent read early on. They've gambled correctly. 3 players towards the C site. Prowler's going out on A, trying to distract, but MIBR unknowingly still walking into this stack. Paranoia is perfect. It's got so many, but that cage from Tex, that saved them all. There were 3 players blinded and easily about to be taken down. A single cage. And they get to take a breather, to reset, to fight on their terms, and put a 5v3 on the board when the smoke fades. It's not going to look pretty for Kira. Even with 2, it's left Shrimp alone, weaponless, and against the odds.
He's not been having the greatest of games individually. Started incredibly slow, and this would have to be an utter turnaround in a round where expectations at this stage are almost 0. MIBR have managed to negate the stack with relative ease, considering the initial setup looked incredibly dangerous. Now Zekken is already tagged low and will go down. But the remaining 2 players full HP and looking to try and play this together. 3 bullets remaining in that Sheriff, but the main problem is the time. Needs to almost be on that defusal already if they're going to get it to half and try and bait players in. And that is the goal. Another nice shot from Shrimp. The problem is the second player may be expected to be further away. It's a crazy shot again from Shrimp. But unfortunately, that clock was already gone. A nice amount of damage in a low buy round. And well, MIBR are a little bit lucky to even get out with it.
Yeah, I think they realized at the end, if he gets it half, he has a chance. But if I stop him now, he doesn't. And that was incredibly close. A millisecond either side, and this could completely change the game. And that's in a number of different fights. Kira did remarkably well to find 2 up top. Lucky that They were throwing the Seize nade as the smoke faded, so two of those players weren't ready to fight. And close as they made it, costly as they made it. MIBR still have decent credits even after the buy. They come in here with the convergence path on the attack side. And all gamers want to get aggressive right away. They've decided to try to catch Kira, and he has been stunned up by the convergence path. No chance with the showstopper, yet it's still a couple kills back in their direction. Fighting through the doors with great success.
Yeah.
All gamers have a man advantage.
If anything, Kira with the showstopper kind of saved the rest of his teammates. Nightfall now being thrown out as well.
Hasn't seen Verno.
Verno sat in the corner, but Vangear was still a relative unknown. The attack side looking to try and take space on the other side of the map, but of course in a massive deficit. Well, Tex might be in trouble between two. I think the rifle might have been spotted. Just the tip is enough to give the game away, but Tex has managed to escape, but will he escape by timing? Couldn't be any worse. Just as he drops down, and now Aspas will walk into the same man. Lead not taken by MIBR just yet, as a breakback is immediate.
Oh, that's essential for all gamers to stand their ground there. I think if they lose the lead and then end up on an eco, MIBR have all the momentum to just run away with this. But standing tall in this moment, a bunch of problems there with like the Nightfall not hitting, and yet they're aware. They're filling in the gaps in those fights. The showstopper being caught by the convergence path, but
actually saving, yeah.
Yeah, it ended up working out favorably for them. And for MIBR, trading out that ultimate. And they come into this one away from a showstopper. And I think Zekken finding that orb would be a death sentence. They look to defend it, though, on all gamers. They lose Shrimp right off rip.
Okay.
And there's the orb for Zekken. He gets it on a blind spam. The nade almost lands perfectly, but Vangear dodges it. Now has backup as well. The problem is they're going to know exactly where these players are. And
oh, yeah, that was an immediate cancel from Aspas. You could see he was about to dive in and then goes, oh, there's two there. No, I'm not doing that anymore. Well, we can just play with the rotation. Zekken has just turned on this round, though. A shot through the smoke, a shot in a pixel gap through the door. Now the remaining two. Again, there's been a lot of rounds where I feel like MIBR have had ridiculous advantages. But this one, I like how they played it. They have just paused. They've stood still. They know there's trips on the other side of the map as well. One holding B, one holding A, so they cannot be flanked without that information. And because they just stood completely still, the All Gamers players went, okay, I'm going to get aggressive on B, try and find info. You go aggressive on A, let's try and get something. And, well, they might get one kill at least onto Aspas. But other than that, it should be much, much tougher. Although I am looking at the attack side splitting up and looking for clues. I'm going to be honest, I don't like the current positioning of the MIBR players. They're giving chances. But in the end, it doesn't matter.
yeah, I mean, considering how, Shrimp in a 1v3 with a Sheriff
Yeah.
almost won the round, I wouldn't really be playing that confident, but spreading the net has its purposes. Find those players. Hopefully remove their weapons. A lost rifle for MIBR won't quite sting as much as deleting all those finances for all gamers, especially with how things have been going. Majority of rounds falling into those attackers' hands, but it looks like Vangear has managed to fly under the radar for now.
Well, that is the one thing I will say, though, is that for all gamers, they can rebuy no matter what. So if you lost too many weapons by getting aggressive, it would have actually hurt them more than if they took all of the guns away. So clearly feeling like their opponents were going to save the second they didn't spot them on the side. But this was the second round. Again, we know that the peak potential of what this man can do. In fact, there's a man sat just over there who definitely knows the peak potential of what Zekken can do. Yes, Rob Moore is back. Wow. This is a much faster take coming out from Zekken. Showstopper, he's got the support of his teammate to at least hold on to the space. 4 players outside of this A site, and they've got to be a little bit careful, but it's only space taken, no lives.
That's okay. Crowd control was all they wanted. Now they can just fade away from where that ulti's coming through. 2 players still going to be caught by it. The Nightfall right back should slow down all gamers. Should, but it might not. The shorty up close here, a death sentence for Kira. He was 20 HP, swinging that angle, and Tex has torn them a new one. Although, hold on, it's not over just yet. The big swing in leaves all gamers ahead. It's a 2v2.
Go, go.
They were behind moments ago, but now neck and neck in this fight, coming in from both angles. GRQ isolates the fight to start, and the swing in from Vangear is beautiful! All gamers looked like they were falling behind. The chances slipping through their fingers, but they got their grip back on this map just in time.
They did well to hold every single position there. Because you looked at the amount of counter ults, you mentioned it, the Nightfall, but they'd already claimed that space and were still fighting through it, even with having some of that later HP. It left MIBR with not really any map control to try and hold on to. Like, they're basically boxed in on that B site, and because of that, it made it very, very difficult to avoid any utility that was thrown through, any ultimates that took their guns away. The back and forth continues in that matter. Operator now in as well for Vangear. And it really does feel like potentially the team that wins 2 in a row might be the one to take the map. Whoa. He's able to get out of there. He takes a lot of damage for it.
Yeah, down to half already. Zekin looking for a bit of space towards this B site, the crew right behind him, but they've heard the wall now. Whether to bait it out or it looks like push through it all together. Well, that was the idea. Few players have been isolated, now left to just Zekin.
We're almost all in this together.
Yeah, it's been left behind by the gang. But a plan found, and no real contest from all gamers. They gave that to them. Happy to play the retake, and after how last round worked out, I'm not too surprised. But the difference is they pushed them out of those key positions with the Steel Garden. It's not there anymore.
Here we go.
Oh, different ults to be expended. Already the overdrive, getting one and a second as well. Great work from Vangear once again. Up top is Aspas, needs to land some shots. Has Verno alongside him, and again, the trading is enough for all gamers. This B-site retake, sure, maybe they do need an ult or two, but this time it was the overdrive that did the work.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I realize why they're so confident in the retakes when Vangear's just going to pull BS out like that. Like, he sprayed 2 people down, took barely any damage for it, and is able to get out and reset for a big 5v3 retake. This is insane. He's down to 41 HP, and none of the spams catch him. Verno really stepped up to the plate in this round, but it's them that get knocked out of the park. And for all gamers, this is all they need. 11-9, 2 rounds in a row, and an eco coming out of MIBR. Very low buy at best. We should be seeing overtime locked in, and the timeout from MIBR coming in here, they're going to discuss that. Is it even worth fighting for victory in regulation and potentially throwing the map away?
That's the tough spot. We mentioned it earlier when they started this comeback. They were 8-4 down on their own map choice. Brought it back to level a couple of times, but all gamers are the ones that seem to have the extra little bit of depth. I think them running as a unit has really been working out. Like we saw in the first half with them playing with the almost ruse of their push and pull of the map, and then on the defense, their retakes have looked fantastic, even if it was a 1v3 in some occasions. A last pause of regulation for either side. I'll say that as well. We mentioned whether or not the impact from the coaching staff would be there. I think especially for all gamers, both times that they've taken a pause, they've gone on streaks of rounds. Be it coincidence or not, I think the coaching staff deserves some credit.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think that there has been a tangible step up from this squad, heating up as the tournament goes on. Aspas, though, comes in to shut one down. Kira, oh, 34 HP. He's lucky to still be alive after a few shots landed. For MIBR, they know there's potentially a weapon to be retrieved in there. I think they still want to hit this C site, but all gamers have battened down the hatches now. I didn't even expect to see Convergence Path put through, but they're committing it. Even on this lighter buy, they saved their credits to fight for the next round, yet somehow they're winning every battle here. A missed shot from Vangear. Do you save here?
I think
for all
so,
gamers?
yeah.
It's not worth even giving them the extra weapons.
You don't want to give an AWP over. You don't want to give another rifle. They'll be able to get some upgrades here and there, but that round, again, was all Aspas. The fact that he's able to dive in, get an opener, get his ult, pop the ult, hit, I think, everyone that was on that site.
Yeah,
It looked like they lined up. And then that SMG is nowhere near as weak anymore, because you have to hit an instant shot, and I just have to spray wildly while moving all over the shop. So, great round from him. And that has been the case in a lot of this map so far. Like, I think if you look at openers, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Aspas is going to have a vast majority of them with what he's been able to do with pistols, what he's been able to do with rifles, and it's been fight backs into the round from all gamers. Well, this time, they're unable to fight back. A singular ultimate has been able to turn the tide and give them a 10th.
I think it's crazy that MIBR came in. Like I said, they saved their credits. They had money for the next round if they lose this one. This was a buy what you can and let's win the next. And yet that kill gets the ult out of them, and that's what immediately turns the tide in their favor. 10 to 11. It's been Fangir finding a lot of success in the late rounds, but early we need some heroes for all gamers. Is MIBR once again look towards this C site. GRQ looks to concede that space. He's just immediately playing on the backside. He's already in spawn. After what happened last round, no one wants to be standing on site when Aspas comes barreling in. Because of that, it should be a relatively easy plant.
Yeah, but the one thing that we've been talking about with all gamers is their retakes have been incredible. I like in this scenario, though, that Hex is going to be that dagger in the darkness, the late lurk, but they are currently still watching for it. Even though the plant is coming through on the other side of the map, they're being patient. A nice shot as well off the back of the nade. Forced an awkward position, and there's that patience from Fangir. As said, one of the major dangers, the differences to the B-side takes was having Tex in the background. Second, though, again, any shot he fires through those doors seems to be deadly, and Kira is low.
Well, they had the plant, but MIBR tried to spread their roots. All gamers come in. They've trimmed the shrubbery, and a great paranoia into the back. It hasn't got the player up top, though. Verno still able to provide that cover. Now the jump in, caught by Verno as well, and MIBR! They fight their way back into this round, back into this map, 11 to 11.
That was a good read from the defense initially. Like, those opening picks that they found, like the nade comboed to get rid of Mazzino. Then you have the catch on the lurker as well, but it's those three players just hunkered down at the back.
And it's Verno as well, who he was like 1 in 10 or something. He had a really bad start. And that's 2 rounds now I can point to and say, without him, they don't have a chance. They did end up losing one of those, but this one here, that's all him. He saved that backside.
Yeah, it stops. He protected the president. He kept Aspas alive long enough. Oh, 11 to 11. Stunned through a weaker purchase, but there is a showstopper. I don't know if it's going to be used in this round. No, it's not. Again, another opener. Aspas Fangir in position once again, though, and he gets 3 in the blink of an eye. The majority of that attack force dissipates. And even a TP in behind. There's plenty of weaponry to be found for these defenders. No ultimates to play with. Verno will get his, but its viability in this sort of moment.
Look at the pings.
Hey, he's just faked that out. That TP was purely for bait purposes.
They were pinging those rifles. They're saying, let's get them and fight our way back into this one. A buy up in the next for all gamers, but they might have to fight for OT. But with Verno down, maybe not. Tex, the man who's been a problem. Look at his position. Look at the plant. He has to be quick moving to site. They're going to see him very early on. He'll cut off the first head of the Hydra, but plenty more remain. Tex, a chance in the 1 versus 1. Has his cam, but look for the fight and he wins it. Tex delivers MIBR to 12 with a huge clutch.
That's just insanity. Like, again, you look at this defensive side and you go, hey, Fangir should have had the play of the round. He genuinely might have wiped out the entire squad if he was given an extra bullet or 2. But that was perfectly played from Tex. A reposition, first player, you could forgive it. The second look to jump across as bait, almost, and then gets wrecked. And then because of that, he has the time to flip it back. 3 in a row for MIBR. Sure, it was a low buy round, but they're not going to care. And for the defense, they now have ultimates. They have weaponry. They're in a good position to take us to overtime, but have they been broken by those last couple of rounds?
They've been broken by Tex. I mean, what a Herculean effort in that last. Unbelievable play. The confidence, not even letting him get to half, swinging in early in the smoke. Cool under pressure with MIBR. They've weathered the storm and found themselves to safer waters. At least an overtime guaranteed now. But 13 on the board early is what they want. Prowler again sent to B. We've seen this. MIBR like to push and pull the map. For all gamers, they're left without a read, but the Vice setup on the A site should leave them a bit more confident to send forces in that other direction. The thing is, where's MIBR going? This is looking like one of those all gamers rounds. They're playing across the map, grabbing their orbs, and it's a huge fake of the C site, but it hasn't pulled rotations.
No. At least not yet. And because of that, questions are being asked. 2 ultimates have been used on the A side of the map. It felt like they had the right read, and honestly, about 2 seconds ago they did, but because there was no contact made towards Zekken, he's called for the rotations. 12 seconds to get that plant in. Aspas with an operator in a peculiar spot. Now they look to move. If they drop the spike, that might be the round. I don't know if they've got time to plant it. I don't think they do. All Shrimp has to do is survive, and they've taken it off that alone. 4 attackers will live to tell the tale of a singular kill.
Right in the nick of time.
That's crazy.
They picked the spike up with 3.5 seconds left. Just shy of what they needed. That is a huge play. And all gamers, they deserve an overtime with how they've played. And their attack side is really what looked the scariest.
Oh my God.
But Fangir, every step of the way, has been the shining light, the spark of hope for all gamers. Now they look to fan the flames in overtime.
They're going to see his face in their nightmares tonight. Like, that is genuinely... He couldn't have timed it any better. Like, literally, it's not possible. Gets it on the 6-second mark. Stays alive long enough. And that should have been the end of the game. Instead, OT.
I'm out of here.
Fangir's got to be feeling confident at this stage. It feels like every decision he makes turns to gold. And the attack side now looking to put the pressure back onto Tex. They suffered at the hands of his trips, and again, you can see how wary they are of running through that utility, but this time there's no kill trip in that spot.
MIBR with everybody in the waterway, ready to come flooding back through. Fangir will be the point of contact, and he'll fall, but who else is here? Who's next to fall? Who's next to challenge? Nobody. As MIBR find out, the plays come in the other direction, and a great TP from GRQ. He's passed the trip very early on, and as they now break it, it might be a bit of false security for Aspas. No, he's clearing it still. He's looking for this player, and he'll find him. GRQ down. Good work by Aspas to still be wary, even though the trip was broken so late, but he will be caught by Vi in the end.
God, they've got to be careful here. AG in the post plant, that was where they were truly deadly. Buying one away from an ultimate. Instead, they're going to look to get aggressive. Timing worked out for them, but Mazzino has his teammate covered, and now Kira is all that's left. MIBR, they've not been broken by that previous round. They will now go up to 13. Another attempt at map point on the attack.
Another chance to close this out. Last time, it was a very narrow margin by which they lost out on the chance to start this series 1-0. 16-14 against Heretics. I'm even talking about the last 2 rounds ago.
Oh.
Half a second.
Oh, I literally went the last time they played this map.
Indeed, yeah, that match against Heretics was laborious, and this may be the same. You look across the stage from MIBR, though, and like Fangir blowing our socks off here. Leagues above the rest, but for MIBR, Aspas is impressive as ever, but the desk highlighted it, hunting down Tex. Was what this was all about, but he proved to be more predator than prey. Dive in from MIBR. They haven't spotted Fangir. And now they have, but it's a little too late. He'll still get 2. And with GRQ adding to the equation, it's MIBR miles behind.
Genuinely. Again, just the decision making. He almost gets another triple kill in a defensive round. And while Tex is thinking so much about how he can get past the wall, he ends up getting peaked. Aspas has been good. Scratch that, he's been great. He's been so good in opening positions, but how much can he truly hope to find with 39 HP and 3 players? A plant? Sure. Even that might be all he gets. The nade puts him down to just 4 HP. He can't afford to take any damage along the way, trying to dodge the boom bot, but even finding his opponent's going to be difficult. Nice shot on the first. That's the ultimate, but the spam is enough. We go again with Bai finding another double, and 13-13 the score.
Yeah, this is where it starts to be a bit of deja vu for MIBR. Last time around, a similar story. It went the distance and then some. And this time, again, the snake in the grass of Fangir to start this round. The reveal came in just a smidge too late. He'd already got 2, and GRQ, fighting from that open door, was able to trade out to make it an even bigger advantage. Going into the next OT, for all gamers, the question is, will Fangir slow down at some point?
Goes here.
And the answer so far has been a resounding no. Presence to the A site for MIBR. 4 players early on, throwing the Season 8, throwing the reveal. Nothing seen. As now the pace picked up by all gamers, and you expect a very direct hit. Tex is going to have his work cut out for him in holding this first burst of aggression. Trying to snipe one out of the air, but he'll be forced to play the retake now.
It's a little bit of damage. Spike to Kira. 1 away from the showstopper. Could play a part in the late round, but it's Spam actually takes down GRQ. That's a man advantage now. Another opening kill for Aspas to add to the ever-growing collection. Already, though, Fang is there again, and even with the fallback, finally has fallen down, but there's that showstopper. And now Tex is all that resides once again, and it's Kira to close. 3 kills for the Rays. Lead taken, and the first map point now for all gamers.
Their first chance to close out this series, as said. It felt like they deserved the overtime. It was a crazy first half from this squad. The calls on the attack left MIBR guessing, and they never found the answers that they needed. Now they call a timeout in a series, in a map that they had the chance to close out more than once. And now they have to fight for survival with Aspas topping the board, 27 there, but Fangir, the one drawing all our eyes. He has looked like the star of the show just in that last round from the top rope, denying all that space that they were attempting to take back through. It's been so fun to watch, and I do keep waiting for that moment where he slows down. I think the worst I've seen from him is a single missed op shot, but the round before he got 4, so I'll forgive him.
I'd almost be a little bit nervous as well if I'm MIBR to take a pause, because you think back and it's been the all gamers pauses that have gone straight into round victories. I think again, Ed 101 has been sublime, and whatever's been said to these players, be it from losing a streak of 4 rounds in a row to immediate winning 3 of the next 4, the same in the first half as well, 4-4, 8-4 half ending after the pause. He's been impeccable, and now, well, all they need is 1. And MIBR have gifted that pause over to the other side. I will say all gamers had the same opportunity to take a pause, but evidently whatever's been said by the players, he didn't feel like it was necessary on his side.
Well, all gamers, they've really grown into this map. They certainly did into the attack side. Now their defense to be tested from what we've seen, especially for Fangir, but the squad overall, every leaf has been a flower, and now they bloom late, but just in time. MIBR look to go direct to the A side, and this is not ideal for all gamers. A 4-man stack up on C. They had read the favorite site of this attack side, but things change here in overtime, here after the pause. The A side is wide open. The Vice utility is there, of course, but nobody to do anything off the back of it. The door opens and the Thorns activate. This may send MIBR back towards this B site. You don't really want to play that Vice setup, and you don't know how many players are there. It could be easier to go for the split, but that will work in all gamers' favor if it's attempted.
The terrifying thing as well is, if anything, if you're MIBR, you want those more contacty plays, because the retakes coming out from all gamers have been their best work. Nice shot from Tex, though. He was under serious pressure and manages to get rid of Fangir. He's been the tip of the spear in all of the retakes. Think about it. Using that overdrive, getting in their face while they put the ults through. Him being gone could give them another opportunity.
Well, that's it. We were waiting. What happens when Fangir goes quiet? Well, now a 4v4, and it's all gamers' chance to break back into this. A seize nade thrown down below, a slow at least to buy some time, and the paranoia does the same. The clock keeps ticking. And now Kira finds the first shrimp with another. Okay, the number's thin, and MIBR are left with just second, standing against the rising tide of all gamers. The tap on the spike, the swing needed. Now it's already half. He'll get the first, but he won't get anything else. All gamers wash MIBR away. 15-13, taking the lead and taking the dub moments later.
It's another nightmare that's probably going to keep MIBR up at night of the tournament so far. And we look at the other side, and like, Aspas was still performing well. Tex had a great map. It wasn't enough to get them over the line on their own map choice. And now coming into Split, still, it is their opponent's choice. But I think it's one where they have looked relatively comfortable in the past, like going head-to-head with some pretty good teams regionally. It's just whether or not, like, if they're going to have enough to take us to a third map.
It's crazy to lose a game as well. Like in that last one, MIBR went +10 on opening duels between Tex and Aspas. Yeah, like it's wild to have it spin back in favor of all gamers like that, but you said Fangir was that savior who pulled back so many of the rounds for them. MIBR starting the attack side here and wasting no time getting into the A site. Spike still needs to go meet the rest of the squad, and those smokes, you know, they're not going to last forever, and finally they will make it through. In the nick of time, the plant, without any advantages found, though. They were hoping that someone from All Gamers would give them a fight, give them a scrap, and now they have to go looking for it. Deep push in towards the spawn. And they've got a foothold now. Now it's more on All Gamers to fight back.
Well, they know they've lost screens, and reclaiming that is going to be difficult. Bai was waiting for them to try and make the move round to heaven. Now the plant is not the greatest for the side of MIBR. In fact, I would say it's a pretty poor one already to half. They need to get a move on. They're just looking to try and defuse it in front of their noses, and nobody gets anywhere near it. MIBR was so ready and raring to try the wraparound, but the plant just wasn't for that position.
That's the danger. They planted for backside. Remember, those smokes were fading by the time that they'd pushed in. It was a couple seconds left on them, but not enough to go planting up for heaven. A piece of utility to disrupt, and all of a sudden you're on the back foot in the round. So instead, they take a safe plant and try to use those sky flashes to fight deep into the spawn. Sure, it works out, but like you said, the plant isn't for there. And the second that All Gamers get some presence on the site, get boots on the ground, it already flips things massively in their favor. That is a big pistol pickup. Fangir again showing that he's still got chops in this mirror matchup. And an eco coming out of MIBR. That's a spam on the back of the tap. GRQ doesn't get anything for it, and hold on. Now he's in danger. Never mind. He'll go down eventually, but the work has been done.
Yeah, comfortable in the end. I think as well, that one thing I'm loving the most about Fangir is I think there would be a lot of people who go into this game and go like, look at the careers of the players on the other side. Like, these are players that have been to champions, that have won champions, won masters. Like, there's so much depth in terms of who has been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And Fangir doesn't care. Not even for a second. Like, he's like, I'm going to full stick this, and if you guys are nearby, cool. If not, I don't care. Like, it is just a confident player, no matter who he is up against. It's got to be tough to play against. Now, bear in mind, a few rifles kept over into this round, an SMG for Bai, but there's definitely some vulnerabilities, and because of that, the defense are going pushing.
All Gamers not scared of their opposition, that is for sure. It's a blitz, but Mizzino was ready. Plenty of backup there. I don't want to see him push that with the spike, and thankfully he does cancel that aggression. Might be time to flee, but MIBR show no signs of running away, of turning tail. Instead, they're looking to fight their way back through. The dog's going to make it awkward. The stun on Shrimp ends his life after one. Good trades for MIBR to start. And the main thing about this is it's dangerous when that low buy comes running at you. It's dangerous when some of your players can potentially be isolated, but MIBR stayed calm and just clumped together to deal with it, obviously with the exception of Tex, who was the flank control.
I liked as well that Verno was just happy to go, I'm going to paranoia my own teammate because he's close enough that it doesn't matter and I don't want to die. So clearly happy to hold their ground. And hey, I don't mind it from all gamers. Like, you got a weaker buy, you got SMGs. I don't even think they had one like full price rifle. So just go for something risky. You catch them, you have a far higher chance to win the round.
Also, I think it's good limit testing as well. Like, you do something like that and you just see, what did the opponents do? Like, do they hear
react?
4 of us rushing and they instantly run to the A site? Then we know that a little bit of early aggression could potentially push them into our heavier setup if we want. I think it's a really good idea to get aggro, but MIBR contained that aggression beautifully. That's a rifle now, and he's just going to pop the snake bite and run for the hills.
Yeah, really not bad in terms of a low buy. You get out with an extra gun. You drop 2 of their guns. For MIBR, they'll probably be quite happy with that as well. 3 players alive versus the low buys. They've definitely had some troubles here and there with losing players to pistols. So I don't think either side are going to be too disappointed with that one. But there you go. There's the paranoia. Just go there. Like, Voda's like, screw it. If they're going to run at us, they're at least going to be blind while they do it. But this is where the game really should get going. Rifles across the board. Even a outlaw for Fangir being put into play. Does seem like there's heavy shields across the board though, so it's not going to be an insta-kill. In fact, he's not going to land the shot at all.
Fangir's movement to get out was nice, but Verno is hot on their heels. And MIBR, they have made this one look incredibly easy. Running it down on that A site and taking every fight with great success. And another sign that's important, Verno online early on. Like we said, he had a really tough start. The desk talked about it as well, but, well, he certainly didn't let that knock his confidence. You could see him straight up into heaven for that brawl. And GRQ finds Aspis at least. It's some sort of reinvestment needed for MIBR, but they're happy to throw themselves at this just to remove the weapons, at least to start. Aspis was. Seems like a bit more patience on the rest of the squad, and I like that. They've already got 2 players that are fully invested into this round, so if we do lose a few more players, it could definitely get costly and sort of ruin that leg up that you've given yourself. Give all gamers a chance to steam back into the lead. So 2-2 we go, and the question is, for the defensive side, like, saving 2 weapons here, it puts them in a spot where they could force buy around it, especially with the validity of like a judge on this map, for example, playing up in heaven. But I think, playing around those rifles and saving up for the next is probably
the other thing as well, I want to bring it up with you mentioning Verno. I think that ultimately, on the attack side of the last map, he was okay. It was the defensive side where they were being pushed and pulled across. So the fact that they've got that attack side start might actually help him out individually, because he can now just go like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm TPing up. I'm making these aggressive plays. I'm taking space alongside Aspas and being a thorn in their side rather than trying to figure out what the opponents are doing. And while you mentioned it, it is more of that half bite. 3 rifles in play. One of the pistols already dropped to the deck, and the B side completely under the control of the attack.
Fangir's trying his best to get a pot shot or 2 off, and indeed a walk up from Bai is quite aggressive. Being caught by Aspis for free. Of course, when you have those pistols, sometimes you try to take your timings, try to catch someone by surprise, but that hasn't worked out this time around for all gamers. The 2 rifles that they've got left, a decision, perhaps you could carry them through to the next. And they're at least doing that with one of them. Kira's on the A site, and I don't imagine he's going for the latest flank of all time. But for Fangir, he's been good every time. He wants to make it costly, because look at MIBR's credits. Already in an extremely good spot. Winning this round with all 5 alive is going to make this dangerous. The imbalance is going to be stacked against all gamers. At least they carry that 1 rifle through.
Yeah, and I also want to say I like the compositional switch that came out from MIBR, because obviously you look at it on the other side, it's not like they've reinvented the wheel or anything, but I do just look at these agents as comfortable. Like, I love seeing Aspas on the Jet. I think we have done for years. I think Zekon on the Raze also just gives both of them this more sort of aggressive tandem. I think Verno swapping, I believe, with Mazzino, like one of them now playing the Initiator. They do this anyway, with depending on what the Initiator is, but putting him onto the Omen, we already saw the impact that it can have, with him currently being 5-1 on the board. this looks like a very comfortable composition for MIBR. And even just some of the early rounds, the fact that Aspas is, again, he's taking that aggressive space with the dashes and the follow-up. It's very similar to the previous map, which worked great. Like, that was the bit of their gameplay that was fantastic, was when they get the entry, when they get these more direct plays, their execution is fantastic because the guy at the tip of the spear is one of the best entry fraggers in the world.
Now, like you said, all gamers have been having a lot of success off the back of these timeouts, but this one does feel a little bit more difficult because on the defense, how it's panned out for them so far has been, well, they haven't gotten to play strong retakes, barring those first two. They are constantly having to save. They're constantly having to call it off with 2 players left alive, even there in a 3v5, because they only had the 2 rifles. 1 guy's going to save. They haven't been able to avoid the early aggression with... Sorry, they haven't been able to avoid the early aggression at all, and they haven't been able to deal with it in those heads-up battles. Think about the A-site full buy. It literally looked like MIBR walked into an eco. In fact, I think it would have been more dangerous against an eco because there probably would have been more players there. So for all gamers, it isn't just about finding the solution. It's about avoiding that early burst, not losing 2 players in the initial aggression from MIBR, and all the while MIBR now come in and pump the brakes themselves. I imagine they're expecting to see some pointed aggression from the defense now. Okay, we can't sit back and wait. We have to instead fight for mid, or we got to push A main, or we need the info early. But that hasn't been the approach. It seems like they're just taking much more passive positions overall.
It might be a change-up because of the operator. Gives you a little bit more of an avenue to find those opening picks a little bit quicker. Mid seems to be the point of call for Banger, and it's something that we're yet to see in this game. Already, he's been smoked off, but he does not care! He's just faster than anybody else. Straight into mid. Tex didn't even get a chance to blink, and he's already gone. The read they have, though, is wrong. The flash might just give the game away. Instead, the execution coming through from MIBR. This time, they don't have that tip of the spear. It's Zekken to try and fill the void, and he's gone down immediately. Shrimp doing well, and in fact, everybody stepping up to the plate. He's taken a lot of damage, though, but so is Mazzino.
And now the ops in position. They sit and they wait, knowing Verno's in that corner, knowing that Mazzino is in main, but he can't afford to leave this. He is so desperately low. It's on to Verno. 5-1. A big step up from the performance earlier on, but he has to plant. Before that, he wants a pick, and that will be the end of him from what we can see. Pangear swung in, but the rest of the squad did just the same, and all gamers, they managed to seal a pretty convincing round off.
I'd love to see that from Tex's point of view. Because it's literally like there is a half second where he reveals himself through the smoke, insta hits the shot, and it makes things so difficult because then you have the immediate gamble of the third player over onto the other side of the map, and then the flash that comes through that gives them all the information on the other side. Sure, though, those 2 players still had to do well, but you don't have that 1-2 punch of Aspas and Zekken. It was just Zekken that went in first and definitely became a little bit more troublesome.
Well, Seekers right away. MIBR going for a much more pointed attack. The B side under threat. Kira had a rough time so far, and the Seeker seems to have sent him out of the site. He's now smoked off, and in fact, GRQ is going to come meet him. They want to play a full retake of this B site, and again, that has been the problem. When they try to stand their ground, MIBR washed them away. So instead, they'll look to fight back, which was really the upside for their defense on Lotus. They were very good at the retakes. Blade Storm from Aspas to deal with, though, could be a different story, and the Showstoppers certainly will.
Gets rid of any chance of having smokes on the retake. That's going to make it a lot more difficult. Denied the dog, but needs a little more. 2 quick kills coming up for the defensive side on the way back through. Even still, though, Zekken's there again, and because of that, he has a nade. Up above comes Fangir, but it's only the one. Trading evenly once again, leaves it close and down to just Verno, and he's definitely back in the server after map 1. Another high-impact round for the AG.AL.
When he's 8-2 now, yeah, that's definitely a different flavor than what we saw from Verno starting out the previous map. As you said, it might change when we swap sides. That's where the pressure was put onto him, but seeing a slow start here would be even more worrying. Giving them a lifeline. In 2 buy rounds now, Verno has been the difference maker for this squad, and considering they've only got 4 on the board, not 4 buy rounds, 4 rounds overall, it's no surprise that he's our highlight. All gamers right back in with the full buy, right back in with the operator, but 3 players towards the A side, and it looks like, again, MIBR are going to play this very pointed aggression. It's why the op is such a good counter to this, because they're contacting so many of the early angles, but if it's in the wrong place, the rest of the squad will have to answer up. Kira does well to get one, but the trades firmly in favor of MIBR.
It's back to basics. It's what this composition does best. You have the Jet, you have the Raze, you have a Sky for the flash, and you're in as quick as possible. Viper's Pit for the post, and this becomes an incredibly harsh retake, especially when you have an operator. That operator goes from being your most valuable asset to a weakness. And in the last round, they had a Blade Storm. Well, they don't have that anymore. Bai's trying to find a gap, but that gap is exploited by Mazzino instead, and for the remaining couple, do you want to throw the operator into this? You might just now. That's one, but that time is too far gone. It's a consolation frag and a lead extension for MIBR.
Yeah, this is their way back through. A strong attack side already on split from MIBR. Some of the quieter players in that first half of Lotus finding their rhythm early on. And I guess looking across, though, for Fangir, for Aspis, definitely taking a step back, and it makes sense when you look at the Jet on this map. For Fangir, or for Aspis, sorry, playing on the attack side, but you look at it from the perspective of Fangir,
yeah,
things have slowed. And I do think that, in my mind, that's not so much a danger as it is, it's a matter of time before he finds that rhythm again.
Well, wrong place, wrong time. That's been the issue so far, is when his operator was in position, when he swung mid, perfect. But it almost feels like he's reactionarily moving. So, okay, they hit B fast the last couple of rounds. Let me go B. Now they're not doing that anymore. 3 players walking up A. The spike about to rejoin the rest of the players on that side of the map. And sure, you get the early warning system of those sky flashes, but it only tells you that somebody is there. It doesn't go 5 players. They don't have a clue, so they can't gamble everything over. The deep position allows them a 3rd player, and while Zekken maybe a little audacious.
Yeah, most definitely. And with Aspis down as well, it's a fantastic pickup by Bai. MIBR falling like flies, one at a time they face, and one at a time they fall. The rotates in. Texas up against numbers on this cross, won't even get close. A double jump peek onto Mazzino. Well, certainly got the shot out of him. To be fair, he could run to the B site for the plant, but he'll have to get through a few players if that's to even be a possibility. I do agree, for Fangir, it feels so unlucky. You look at the last round, he's on the A side, he's ready to pick them, and I do like the approach. What's working for MIBR? They play contact up to the choke points, then they burst out of the choke points and overwhelm you. How do you counter that? You hold ahead of the choke point with an operator. They walk into you, easy pickup. But Fangir's done that every round, and every round he's been sat there while his teammates on the other side of the map go, yeah, we got nade, we got paranoias coming, there's a dash. It's been an annoyance for him for sure, but he's still 7-5. And we see him there in the late round have success. Just wait till he's on the right side of the map.
Maybe this will be the one. It's looking like more of a mid-press for MIBR. Of course, last time they played this map, it was the attack where they managed an 8-4 versus Leviathan. I believe that was in the qualifier to make it to this event. Where they sent the previous Masters winners packing already. Burno, who has been the best player so far for MIBR, is gone from this round, and not only does that cause the problem of your top fragger going down, but also your smokes, your paranoia. Leaves you with limited utility with this double duelist, and we're right back to contact again, but that contact has a pop flash ready, and the pop flash has blinded a couple, but nobody actually reacts off it.
I think that's going to give the game away. The smoke is delaying slightly, but this looks now like an A hit. The fake goes through towards the B site. That will keep them in position a moment longer, but it thins the herd for MIBR. And towards the A side, 30 seconds left. They still have to get past Bai, who has been a consistent menace for this squad. The snake bite stops the wrap around, and he'll catch the spike on the way across. Now they've got Kira to deal with and the TP from GRQ. 15 seconds to get that plan through, and both will be dealt with. MIBR looked like they were against all odds, but now it's back to even.
Yeah, Kira could have just played the time, but that felt like an attempt to be a hero, maybe not realizing that Tex was still up above, and instead gave them a way back into the round. The duo that was so impactful over on Lotus. But can they drag home around? It's patient from the attack. They're not giving anything. You can even see it. Fangir is expecting a wraparound. Fully looking towards the heavens. And again, the second the dash is sent out, Tex is there to punish. Every single movement ability that befooled his eyes ended up with the death of an all-gamers player.
Yeah, great work by Tex as well. That backside hold. He ends up finding a triple, and then all the while waiting for the wraparound to come in. This round did not look like it was going to come even close for MIBR. 2 versus 4. A player waiting on the A side. The TP taken from GRQ. It was even a 5v2. No, because Bai was alive initially, getting picked off on the cross. And to end up with control back in your favor there is definitely something that's going to put a smile on your face. A little bit of a tech pause coming in from all gamers. We're getting towards the end of the half. I think it's a good moment for players to take a breather as well, though.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, the moment in that round that fully felt like a bit of a throw was when MIBR.LOS packs up. It's like, you want the kill badly enough that you're going to try and offset your opponent, but if you just sit in the back with the showstopper, there really is nothing they can do, and all you have to do is get one.
They also don't know that he's there at that point, right? They knew about the TP from GRQ, or at least they could assume it. They knew about Bai, but they hadn't spotted Kira, unless I'm mistaken. And so even the showstopper activated, even just sitting there, there's a chance that they're so pigeonholed on the time, because it was like 10 seconds left to plant, that they just rush in to go for it. And you get the pickup, you get the round. It's a little over-eager, a little jumpy to try and close the round out.
The thing is, I don't hate the showstopper with, like, what was it, like 15 to 18 seconds left. It's more so just
wait.
Yeah, if you just stand there, they then have to run at you. And I think that's actually what Tex did fantastically, was just, okay, just wait. And a player flies into his crosshair. It's like, okay, it's not a bad one. But it's a good recovery. And finally, one of those cut rounds actually going the way of MIBR. I think back to the first map, and a lot of the time it was them with the advantages. You mentioned it with the opening jewels. They were getting a lot of them. And then all gamers were able to fight back. Half equal at a minimum, and considering they lost pistol in second round for MIBR, this is already a pretty decent half on the attack. But they're going to want a little bit more, and right back to regular programming. It's looking like a fast A hit.
Smoke and orb up top. Okay,
in the right place.
Taking down Tex somehow. A spam straight through, and it's going to be a 5 versus 4 in the post plant. All gamers, as we've said, very confident when it comes to those retakes that they can get on the site. There's a Viper's Pit, and if not, it's there for the next. Good work by Shrimp. He's been so consistent in this half, and he's kept the advantage in their court. That little sneaky spot by Aspis will be checked. Jumping across. Kira through the eyes of GRQ could find the headshot and leave Zekin all alone. Was against 4. The first is his, but time ticking. He can try to use that to his advantage, but finding these picks should be nearly impossible. Boxed in! Nice work! And the nade thrown out. Goodbye time! He's evaded the shots to start with, but the op will find him in the end. As tight as it will be, there is enough time on that clock for all gamers to push up to 5.
It's a nice attempt in a scenario that definitely felt impossible. And I think you might have been sat there at home going, yeah, these guys are talking an awful lot about if Fangir was in the right place, the right time. And I don't know what they're on about. Well, this is the example. Like, 3 kills, an opening kill, 1 on the way back in, and then 1 to close the round. Like, this guy, when he is in position, has been a real problem for MIBR. But it is just the all-in gamble every single time of if he's in the right place at the right time. A chance for a 6-6. Maybe not the greatest defensive half from all gamers, but if they go in level, they won't mind. That's an immediate showstopper, and it's close. Bai is down to 40 HP, but will live to tell the tale. Is he going to get back into the vibes? But I don't think he can.
No, he's going to let it fade. With Aspis holding up close, it would have been a risky fight. The judge invading with the decay, but Aspis on the other side. Not a gamble they wanted to take. Bai forced back by the grenade as well, but Kira does really well! It's a triple for Kira! He'll fall in the end. Tex and Verno still have some life left to give. But an AWP waiting for an overextension. In fact, he drops it at just the wrong moment, picks up the judge, and it's a little bit of an oopsie. Now look who's posted on the angle, or who was. It's Tex right down below. He's managed to slip the net.
I've got your trail.
The Seekers will find him, though.
Ooh, that makes it a little bit more awkward. 35 seconds. They've still got time to play with. MIBR are hoping that somebody makes a mistake. That might have been it. A quick double for this attack side. And Shrimp still expecting further aggression. And, well, to be honest, he might be right. They're still not planting just yet. Are they about to try and hightail it to the other side? It'll be very late. No, they want to make sure that the spawn is clear. Another smoke. Another attempt to get that plant in. This one will be stuck. And in the meantime, Shrimp is going to try with the spam and has managed to catch it. That was the planter. This time, Tex now has to stick it all the way through. His opponent gets a chance to reaggress. The orb utilized on the other side, and a sneaky move from Tex to escape and close the round. Again, another nice attempt for Shrimp, but it will be MIBR to go in with a lead at the half.
Yeah, I think Tex finishes that one with double digits in terms of kills, and I think every single one was high impact. Verno in the same boat as well. They both stepped up to the plate in a big way during this first half, and MIBR now with a lead at the halftime. That's got to be a big upside for them to bring us to a map 3. It feels like the wind's in their sails, but I won't be finding myself counting all gamers out. Remember how this started. They were not able to deal with the pressure. Well, that's not going to be the case for them anymore. No, they get to dictate that pace. And considering it's still a close half after them being deactivated in those kind of round 3 to 5, still anyone's game.
Yeah, it's worth saying that both teams on the previous map were able to win it out over on their attack side. And then their defense felt like much more of a grind. I think both teams able to, well, in the case of all gamers play with the rotations, and on the other side, the more direct entry style was working wonderfully for them. Even still, though, I think MIBR not winning the pistol and coming out with 7 rounds. Sure, there were, I think, multiple either 2v3 or 2v4s that they had to clutch out, but it's definitely looking like a better scenario for them rather than, I would say, in the last map where they needed that 4-0 start to have the closer attack side.
Feels like the competition a bit tighter. That was a great round as well. We just saw in the replay from Zach in the 2.5 seconds, considering he was a 1v4. The nade almost taking out a player. And even there for Shrimp. What a try. The spam, the reposition, the flash down to try to cancel the plant, force the fight. It was a very nice try, but Tex in those clutch moments finds himself in the post plant backside. Something activates in, and we saw it on both sides of the map. And now we come in to half number 2. All gamers still, and the thing for them, they're down by 2, but they know this is a chance to close the series, to take it 2-0, to send MIBR home and lock in playoffs. And a pistol round could put them right back to neck and neck, considering how the attack went last map. Yeah, as we said, MIBR not out of the woods yet. This pistol could make it a bit more comfortable for the defense.
Yeah, they are the only representative of China left. MIBR look to join 100 Thieves and NRG, maybe even G2 later in the day. It could be 4v4 in terms of Americas versus EMEA, depending on how these two last games of the groups go. Zekken is already going to spot a couple, but this is a ruse again. This is exactly what we spoke about when it came to Lotus. You have what looks like an all-in play early, even give information to the other side, and then they have this slow walk-up. It's only going to be the one player. It almost makes me question, are they going to go back again? It looks like they are. This is like ruse on ruse on ruse on ruse, and I can't really blame MIBR for being in the wrong place. Yeah, they're going back.
Same as what we saw on Lotus, Tom. All gamers were pulling the threads, using MIBR like puppets
Yeah, there you go. You see it from Mazino go, okay, they are now on A, but now they have a backstab of their raise and a second one in the form of Shrimp.
Exactly. Normally it's Bai who's left behind to play those roles, but all they have to do here is delay. This is the problem, though. If MIBR do go direct, if they go quickly into the site, those flanks won't matter. The position, at least, of the plant is for Heaven, but Aspas and Tex clean up the site immediately. GRQ trying his best to slow them down. The Heaven position needed from Shrimp, but he will not find anything. And MIBR, that's what I said, right? They're grouped up. They're in that clump. So when it comes to the retake, they're not waiting for the guy that's coming from the south side, that's in sewers, the flank. They don't care about any of that. They're ready to go the second that they get to the choke point.
I really like that as a pistol round from MIBR because that was their major problem on the last map was they've gone this way, then that way, then this way, and then I've rotated through spawn and I've been killed by a late flank. They then implanted a player on B. As I leave B, I get killed by that guy, and then it's like, okay, now we have a 3v5 retake. Instead, okay, all 5 of us wait somewhere in the middle of the map. We then rotate all together. Even if we trade 1 for 1, we come out far more even than before. And then in this case, Aspas hits 2 immediate headshots on the players holding. They are now the panicky team and not us.
It's going to be a full eco from all gamers, as you'd expect. The classics across the board. Paranoia left just to take Fens. It's already a bit of an investment, even with that piece of utility thrown through. And now you've lost Kieran. No nade for this round. No smokes anymore with GRQ down. But if they can find another pick or two, it'll be damage done. The thing is, for MIBR, the buy isn't what we see a lot of the time, where like you have a lot of Bulldogs, or you even have some players playing low buy for the Vandals and so on. It's SMGs. It's a Marshall. Losing these for the next won't be the end of the world, and I think 2 picks probably won't get any sweat on the brow of the defensive side. We'll need it to be a little bit more than that, and it doesn't look like we'll get any more than the 1. Last man is Shrimp. Spike in his control at the very least, and there we go. I was going to say, Zakin must be aware that he could be coming from screens, and he looked at it and now backs off. They'll just concede that space and punish him when he walks out a little, or not even punish him when he walks out a little further. Catch him in the doorway. Nice work. MIBR with 9, and I think they did a good job of avoiding the real dangers around mid there.
Yeah, I think this looked like a round of just like, let's make sure we get the conversion. Everybody has a weapon. We have a chance to farm up orbs. We can go for something risky in close range. Like, I think Split allows you to do that. Like, you can play some angles where, firstly, if anybody has light shields, that Spectre can do a lot of work, same with the Stinger. But also, if they don't, if I sit on a tight angle, I have a chance to win that battle. So it means that the likelihood of winning this round is a lot less than if you go for all the rifles. But also, it means that you're not going to have crazy, costly rounds if you lose those rifles.
Yeah, you're not going to have weapons recovered by the opponents that are really that scary up against you. And with the way that the economy's going, they'll have an operator as soon as they want it in the hands of Aspas.
4 light shields.
Indeed. For all gamers, there's especially close range. Like, those SMGs are now going to find a much easier fight. When push comes to shove, look how they're set up as well. Initially, there was the attempt of a crossfire in mid, but there is still that setup towards A main. From what we can see, all gamers want to take it in this direction. 2 mid, Spike outside A. It's just clearly going to be a split there, and I think that info should be pieced together by the defense by now. Maybe not. They might think that they've gone back on A main, I suppose. Re-clear of the flash in B. Very soon, all gamers are going to have rotations coming their way, or a flank underway. It's time to pick up the pace.
Oh, a tight low angle that's not been cleared. Tex is the snake in the grass. A chance to do so much damage first and the second as well. This gives Aspas an opportunity. Bear in mind those light shields, and that's where the Spectre is all the more deadly. He's landed his shots and left it all onto Bai, and they don't have to peek. They can just wait for him to go for a plant. There's only 15 seconds. He doesn't have much on the clock to play with. He's being flanked as well. There's still a flash available, and he desperately needs someone to fight him. And when they do, Mazino wins the fight at range. A fantastic round from Tex. And I'll be honest, that duo of Tex and Aspas is not necessarily one. You look at their roles, you go, well, they're not going to play in tandem. But the way they play off of each other is genuinely fantastic.
Yeah, and this is the thing. When you leave the clock that low, you're pushing in towards the site. Still, there was like 40 seconds left. They have enough time, but it's that tiny little gap from Tex for him to be able to fly under the radar like that, for them to not have the utility to clear it out. Like, you're pushing towards that A site, a boom bot, a dog, something has to clear it, but it doesn't. And that narrow gap left. And that's the thing. Every time that Tex has been in that position, you think of the first half, his backside plays on both sites, right there as well. You give him a chance, he takes it and runs to the bank with it every single time. For MIBR, look, that last map, Lotus in general has been a problem for them in the last 2 series that they've played, but bouncing back like this, if this is a dominant win, I think third map favor swaps massively in my mind. But I have adored how all gamers have played the attack so far. I really don't think it's over just yet. Even look at that pistol round. They did manage to sell the fake, but MIBR were too quick on the retake. And I guess that's the other question, is have MIBR adapted to that slow style? Because they certainly had
I think they have
the read.
I also think as well, the thing I like there from Aspas is the patience. He knows his teammate has a play, he lets him make the play, and then goes for his own. Like, it's good synergy. Well, now a chance to farm up orbs towards the ultimate. Can even see Kira shying away. Does seem like Kira's more of a ruse in this scenario, though. 3 players already taking deep control. Zekken, well aware of the position that has been lost. And the closer they get, the more deadly their weapons become.
Oh, nice work from Bai. That's Tex down already. The wall falling. Doesn't go down in time for Zekken to catch them on that cross. But he has called for the rotation. He's heard it. Verno now knows to give up that heaven space. The smoke in to make it uncomfortable, but the dog clears everything behind it. Flashback out could come through, though. Look at this sneaky little position from Mazzino! A triple again! MIBR strike from the shadows! And all gamers can't quite adjust. The ace might be stolen, but it's all smiles from Mazzino. As MIBR look to take this in dominant fashion. That was such a nice setup. He got in that smoke just at the right moment, and no one was looking his way.
Yeah, maybe not a round that you expected to need a play like this, but I don't think it's going to do any harm. And that's the thing. Like, you're able to come back in moments where it looked like it was about to slip away. And 11-5. They are now far and away from all gamers. And from that map 1, a map that ended in overtime, a map that showed the caliber of players, but their own map choice of split is looking like more of a blunder. Now, the operator purchased up for Fangir, him being 1 away from Bladestorm as well. Gives them opportunities, but his counterpart in Aspas has also bought up that operator and is also 1 away from the Bladestorm, so swings and roundabouts.
Minute 5 on the clock, and the op now rings out, but the shot doesn't land. All gamers at least know where that is now, but what to do with that is the question. 55, and they're spread in the default. Mid, off limits with the Viper's Pit. A with the op. Guess B seems like the easier choice, and it was moments ago. But that's changed now as the Seekers confirm players towards the B side. Aspas on his way. The operator will be here by the time the push comes in. And mid is still very much defended, for the time being at least. Tex waiting with 2 players on the other side. They're invading the smoke. They're looking for this fight, and they found him. That's a huge pick from Bai, but Aspas being in position, deadly as ever. The blade's drawn, but he's put to bed. Trades for now, keep it workable for all gamers. They'll even get the plant, and that all being dropped, it might be the mistake that cost them the round.
Leaves it on to GRQ. It's safe to say he's had his moments throughout this tournament so far, but this one might be enough to cling to life. He spots out the first. That's the easiest one done, but the wraparound already coming through closer than maybe expected, and the blast pack is good enough to just completely discombobulate GRQ's aim. That's 12 now for MIBR. 1 away and 7 in a row needed from all gamers. But you know what, Mitch, if they take a pause here, I might just believe in the comeback.
I know that, Tom. You've been a day 1 believer of the new 12-5 meta.
Well, after they did it.
Day one, I remember.
Today.
First time they did it, you said, "Oh, this is a good idea. This is exactly when I want to see that one."
Yeah, no, the first time they did it. No, sure.
But no, there's not going to be a timeout here. No moment to breathe. Instead, perhaps Ascent is on the horizon for MIBR. What a resurgence. A dominant map here, the choice of all gamers, but I doubt they'd choose it again. Bangir. Blade Storm is good for one. A clean opener. They should get the plant off that.
Where, with no ultimates online, a post plant and a Blade Storm makes it quite difficult to break back in. I am looking at Tex as maybe the one player that has a gap. It's how long that gap stays open for. How long does GRQ face the wrong way? Well, the entire time. And Kira actually hasn't reacted either, just moves into the corner instead. Not wanting to rush to take that fight, but Second has just saved his teammate. That couldn't have been better timing. Fangir, though, seemingly had enough of the blades, wanted to go back to the SMG, and well, either way, whatever it is, it's working. Verno left to try and fight versus 3. It's going to be Shrimp to close. The first of what needs to be a 7-round streak has been found, but even still, it felt a little bit shaky.
Haven't seen that one in a long time. The, what, triple kill, double kill with the blades, and then just, I don't need these anymore.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Right clicks them into the ground. That's enough of that. Look at this. Yeah. I guess he expected the re-swing from bottom ramp, so he's pre-firing it with the right click.
I like it as, yeah,
It's just
pre-fire a right
crazy.
click. Like, yeah, maybe back like in 2021, that might not even land still.
That looks so funny. Well, 6 rounds in a row, it's a big task. Up against a squad like MIBR, players like Tex, like Aspis, showing up in these moments when they're needed the most. They have delivered. Even when they're not needed the most, they've delivered. And Ascent may have to be where that bounce back happens, but let's see. Momentum can only carry you so far. A start for Mazzino as they look to shut this one down, and it seems like mission complete. Shrimp, last man alive, and well, he'll make it deeper into the spawn at least, but what do we do from here? Surrounded in every sense of the word, no lane open to him. A minute on the clock, and if he wins this, I believe in the 6 rounds in a row. I believe in the comeback.
He's cornered. And they are not letting him out of the corner, more importantly. Even the lower HP Aspas is now being healed up as well. It's not like you're saving that heal for a rainy day. He is going to bypass his way towards the side, but instead he has to face Mazzino, who hasn't really missed a beat in this round. Finally, he shows his mortality. But speaking of mortality, a man with surely no more lives to be had eventually will fall. It is Tex to confirm a 13-6 victory from a tight OT loss on their own map choice. That was incredibly clean from MIBR.
Yeah, well, the sharp blade of all gamers from that first half, or first map, certainly blunted here.
It's Kira really likes the Raze, so he'll play the Raze. And GRQ really likes the Phoenix. His Phoenix was nuts.
Exactly.
Like, it was probably the highlight when they came up against Heretics. Of course, you're going to look at this and do the kind of proxy thing where it's like, well, one of these teams beat Heretics 13-8. The other one got 13-2. So this is easy for all gamers, right? It's like, no. I don't think it's going to go that way at all. I think the fact that MIBR have gone back here shows that that was more of a blip on the radar, maybe being boomed after taking a defeat earlier in the tournament. This is a different scenario. They've just dominated a map. They come in with most of their players having highlight moments. I think we're in for a very level game.
Well, let's hope so. Certainly owed it after that first map, a tight affair. Oh, damage done. Shock Dart chasing down Bangir. He just about manages to TP out in time. But he hasn't run away. He's still waiting for that push-up inside of B main. Stalemate across the map. Flashes and stuns traded out in that short fight. Still no clear direction for the attack just yet. Fangir just moments away from stepping into Verno's angle. 40 HP. Could be an easier fight for the defender, and just depends if that one tap could be landed. The jump peak with 40 HP is crazy, and he's left down to 1.
They're pincering, though. the flank coming in, and the defenders know this. I like this from Verno. He knew if he sits back and waits, he's going to get pressure from behind. The dart is going to help him out massively. The paranoia nullified, and Verno is having a crazy round once again. And now his teammates are looking to try and wrap him. Kira, though, has given an opportunity, but they're both so desperately low that it ended easy for MIBR. Verno, a hero once more in the early rounds.
Yeah, huge work by Verno. I don't know how that reveal didn't get broken. It allows a second pulse out, and that, I think, gives him the upper hand in the third fight. Indeed, yeah, panic, mistakes made theirs. Verno holds the line. I like the idea as well from MIBR. It was a stalemate for so long, but they were ready to push B main. They were ready to fight on short, more so ready to fight A main. And the second that push comes in through mid, they're like, okay, now we gotta go. We go back, we're dead, but we go forward, we have a chance. And that chance converts to a round win.
Is that a round 2 Odin?
I don't think it's round 3, so yeah. That's
the Toadin.
It's a nice strategy, I have to say. I love it. You look at the trips that are in play here. The idea, if they go straight through a mid flood, you're going to already deal with them quite easily. It's shooting.
I really want him to get one shot.
Then you've got that reveal that would come off the back of it.
Oh, there was a chance for a second. There was a chance.
He gave him a moment to aim, but not to pull the trigger, at least.
Yeah, okay. They've managed to bypass his angle, but he's given it up. Has Zekhem for support. The only other real rifle, but Mazzino, he ended that last map. I think it was like there was 2 rounds where he came up with like 7 or 8 kills. Like, just Mazzino just popped off, and that does make me a little bit more worried for all gamers that it does seem like every single member of this squad has started to rise to the occasion. I know that at times there's been a lot of criticism of a player like Tex, but I think in this series he's been one of their best players. And while a very clean second round coming out from MIBR, the Odin hasn't been lost. And we'll be coming back in to what is a bonus round, which, I'll be honest, you don't normally see an Odin in a bonus round.
No, you really don't. It's a problem to deal with. It is a different setup, though, from MIBR. This time, Odin's going to be sent towards the B side again. It's going to be that heads-up duel with Fangir, who has lost 2 in a row, which I wouldn't want to fight him at this point. Not feeling the odds that he loses another, but hold on. Aspas is walking up on him, and there it is. Fangir landing the shot. Fool him once, maybe even twice, but an old saying in Texas. I know it's in Tennessee, maybe in Texas. A chance now for 3 for MIBR, seeming less likely.
What's the saying?
Fool me once. Shame on.
Oh.
Shame on you. Fool me, can't get fooled again.
I thought from Tennessee it was, are you from 10IC? Or are you from Tennessee because you're the only 10 I see?
That was excellent. Are you from 10IC?
There you go.
Because you're in Tennessee.
Exactly. That's the only saying I know from there. Fool me once. I don't know where that's from.
That was exquisite. Okay. Well, all gamers on their way to the A site. There is a big setup waiting for them here. A lot of trips, as they've just found out, in an easy spam for Mazzino. That's not the only one. There's another kill trip on the back in the camera. Landing a tag and maybe a little bit more. The door's gotten in the way. Saved the day for now, at least. Tex, well, as difficult as he normally is to deal with, they've got him in 1. And now the Op Odin retake. They might not want to go for this anymore, but Verno, he's giving them a chance. It's so close. The shoelaces taken off of Shrimp. GRQ tagged heavy as well. Down to 1. The Odin spam would be enough. He needs to tuck in that corner. He needs to find a safe haven. And Zekken doesn't know how desperately low that player is. He'll still be peeking in with the op, and it's a death sentence. Verno, 5 and 1. The ult to deal with. He's found him to start with. The spam can take him down with ease, and now just 1. But the mag runs dry. All gamers just about finding the round.
It's a weird one because normally going out of a bonus round, you sit there and go, okay, that's not great. But they had an operator and an Odin, so
and the op went in the hands of the opponent.
It was barely a bonus at that point. It had a lot of bite too. I think Mazzino did fantastically well to play off of the utility that was thrown in front. But they actually do still have enough to buy him with another operator. Sure, it's at the cost of Mazzino, who's been their best player so far, so maybe a little bit surprising to see him have to take the bullet. But then also,
the operators on the other hand for Fangir, which I wouldn't want to give him that for free.
Up Aspis is going to be sent back. Blaze has bought them space. Bought them safe passage through middle, although Fangir's looking to fill in the space after. He can't cross anymore. Not without looking for a fight. So short's going to be his responsibility. All gamers gearing up for an A play.
If he pings him, then there's a chance that you can maybe get the kill with a wallbang. Instead, it's going to be the Hunter's Fury thrown out, almost seemingly off nothing, and that's an early double for Verno. He's been playing incredibly well so far, and one, and then out, and in fact, no, Aspas feeling confident, goes for the repeat, the swing off his contact from Tex, and this trap setup has worked, well, I want to say more than perfectly. That is as good as that could have gone.
And this has been the case. Looking at the last map, you said it, it's an unusual pairing, but Aspas and Tex get so much work done together. Kira, you are dead to rights here. Big stun landed.
But that Tex cam was just enough for the contact of the Hunter's Fury. Because you've got to be sat there as the attacking side going, why the hell have they randomly popped top mid? Who Hunter's Fury straight into top mid? But it's because they could see them on the cam. Like, he's able to get just that little pixel of information and go, look, there's guys here in a narrow laneway. If you line this up, you're going to get a couple of opening kills. That's really lovely stuff coming out from MIBR.
Yeah. A sneaky little play that ends up sending all gamers down to an eco. Round number 5. 2 away from Fangir, having a big old gun to work with, so there's definitely still dangers, and they didn't notice Kira slide right past. Zekin down and out, a rifle into the hands of the attackers. Mazzino, he's got a player behind him. He doesn't have a clue, the buy's already passed. It's 2 players striking from behind, and well, now all of a sudden it's a competitive round. Those rifles not recovered just yet. They can be, they could be, if not for the instant rotations coming out of MIBR. The timing here on that main peak could be everything, and Tex has already cleaned house before the swing comes through.
All revealed as well. Looked like that was going to get seriously dangerous, and then Tex basically dropped in alone. Like, it was a little bit risky, but because they didn't have the plant down, he just looks for a timing. And unfortunately for all gamers, I think one of the first players he drops is the spike underneath Balk, which as a place to drop the spike, it's about as bad as it could be for where the remainder are. Still, a little bit of initial damage coming out from the side of all gamers. But this defensive side is looking good so far from MIBR. And you have to bear in mind, last time they played this map, they only managed 2 rounds total. So yeah, it's safe to say it's going a little better.
Indeed. A 4-1 start, and the wind is in their sails now. For all gamers, oh, that paranoia has landed, but doesn't look like they're going to continue the push on MIBR, sitting back, sitting safe up against these rifles. Now, one of the things I'm curious to see, because Lotus, it was much easier to push and pull that map. They attempted it on split, but MIBR did not fall for it anymore. They had the responses, they had the reactions, and now here on Ascent, I'm curious to see how this attack side will shape up. We've had a lot of failures here with the slower plays, and now an attempt to start with a bit of control towards the A site, late move back in the other direction, but again, MIBR haven't moved. They are sat still. An operator in a position that I don't think they could have ever expected. The angle onto GRQ and a big player removed. Still the Cypher setup to push through as well.
Yeah, they've got the TP to the backside if they need it. There goes Mazzino. That will now be a 3rd player defending this site, and a question of whether or not they want to fall back. No, they're going to try and pressure into what is now a pretty hefty setup. In fact, I think Mazzino even cancelled. He was like, you know what? I'm going to TP, then realized that Aspas has already rotated in and went, I don't need to. Let's hold up the other side of the map just in case. A player tagged up as well. They know exactly where they are, and they've got 20 seconds, Mitch.
Well, I think Mazzino would have committed that TP if not for map number 1, if not for the attempts in map number 2. Like, you see that push, you see it stagger for a moment, you think, okay, but the others are outside my site. I'm going to fake the TP across, they'll push in, we'll clean them up. This time it was a more direct play from all gamers. The problem is, as they decide to save, they're not allowed to. Zekin, one side of the trash compactor as the walls close in, a couple seconds left, and I guess we'll never know if he saved the weapon. That's how it goes sometimes. That's life.
They did celebrate very quickly.
So
I'm going to assume they killed him.
High in April.
I'm going based off
Drop down
purely
in May.
celebrations. No one wants to hear that. Yeah, see?
And we still will.
See? There you
We'll
go.
never know.
No, we know. We know.
I guess we'll never know.
We know. He doesn't have a gun. We definitely know.
Might drop them.
See, as said, my read of body
might
language
drop them
and
before
celebrations. Oh,
the
yeah,
timeout.
yeah.
It's
All
possible.
right,
Drop
cool.
them to teammate. Yeah,
Anyway, moving away from Mitch's idiocy. 5-1. Defensive side building. And now those pauses that we spoke about in map number 1 become imperative. They need to find a response here. Sure, versus Heretics, it was a pretty horrific attack side and coming out from MIBR, and a great defensive side on the other side of things, with both Shrimp and GRQ having a performance to remember. But as of right now, they're getting shut down before the round even seems to get started. Like, they're looking to try and take control. They're failing. They're looking to try and almost sell fakes. It's failing. They can't hold on to mid. They're losing it to the operator and set trap plays. Bono's in form. We've seen Mazzino have a decent couple of rounds. Tex has been fantastic throughout the series. And the funny thing is, right now, Aspas and Zekid are at the bottom of the board. They haven't had a whole lot to do in this matchup. Now, one thing that was building up into the last round were those ultimates. Shrimp, Bangit, and GRQ have weaponry to play with. But can they make something work here?
Oh, GRQ, as you said, just being a little quiet, a little missing. This time picked off from the side, but it is only the ultimate that's taken down. That trade good for the start. But enough to finish. Aspas has opt him through the floor. The convergence path goes through. The spam is fantastic, but hold on. GRQ and Kira, they've got some life left in them. Caught by the ult they might have been, but they fired back at the start. Now it's Kira. Alone, he was getting some great shots in that first look at second. So quick to walk through. Kira could never expect that level of aggression. And for MIBR, a 6th round locked in. There was definitely a bit of danger there, but considering the ulti's thrown by the other side, that's just fine.
Yeah, they throw in the running back even while not having a weapon into the hands of the player using it, but it was basically just take space, try and trade. That wallbang shot that came out from Aspas is just disgusting because Zekin is dead. If he doesn't hit that, he's dead, and he's the guy who ends up cleaning up the rest of the round. Tex continuing to be a safe pair of hands, and the problem is you look at that round and go, hey, it was a low buy. They use Tour de Force, they use Overdrive, they use Run It Back, they use Hunter's Fury. That is 4 ultimates committed to 1 round, and it doesn't net you a win.
That reveal, sending him scurrying. Look at the push up from Aspas. Aggression cancelled by all gamers for a moment. Now they start to fight inside of B main. Aspas loses his TP back. He's a player pushed out on short to help him. The drone is going to send him flying. Dash out, but now look who's stuck in mid. Mazzino has to stand his ground, has to stand tall, and that he does. A double kill on the Phantom. They were so pigeonholed on trying to deal with Aspas, they forgot that he might have had help.
Even still, that is Mazzino over-delivering.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
You're supposed to keep him alive. Instead, you've taken 2 bodies in response. That's got to be infuriating. As said, this is the best we've seen MIBR look so far this tournament. Sure, they had those blowout games initially, but everybody can have a round, can have a moment. And that's exactly what they're doing now. Aspas, the man who was saved, has dropped the spike into middle. The remaining 2 players are running around like headless chickens. They're having to try and just get that spike back, and instead they are caught from every single angle. 7-1 in the lead. MIBR are running away with this.
Yeah, things have really changed since that first map where throughout the entirety of it, all gamers were competing, or even at times, especially on the attack, looking like the better squad.
Lose opening, win round. That was how it was going every round.
It was, I think, +4 overall for the team, but you had 2 players combined, +10 in opening duels on the side of MIBR, and they lose that map. It was Aspas, it was Tex, putting up numbers. All gamers dealt with it every step of the way. Now GRQ goes on to a favored agent, and still, we're not seeing that flare.
Well, the reason it was close was because Mazzino was 0-6 in opening duels. And now he's in the argument for being their best player. Like, if you talk about a turnaround, he just single-handedly destroyed them in that last. And, well, when you're 7-1 down and this is the purchase, no ultimate still. And look at the pressure that's being put on. They've eliminated Fangit. Now, what I will say is that is the delivery of a fairly hefty upgrade in terms of weaponry. They get to keep the rifle and then get given an operator. I don't think that trade was worth it.
No, normally you're going to see players drop that up first, go in with the shorty, and then refract back. Of course, Aspis is feeling it at the moment, is the best explanation I can give. 7-1 up, but a little bit overzealous. Up against an eco, downright silly. But that's
Great
what happens
delivery
when you got
service,
this. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Honestly.
That's
Aspas delivery. You'll get more than you bargained for.
problem is, they still need to push out through this, and breaking in with the operator of all weapons might not help all that much. The Odin on the choke. The spam from both players catches by. He tried to slide through, but so many bullets came his way, it didn't matter. GRQ having to recover. Another spam! 2 players through the smoke on this initial push. GRQ tagged low again, even after his heal. He's on 23 HP. And they've barely any time left. This plant should be impossible with an Odin still in play, and it will be. Time running dry. And chances for all gamers are running out. 8-1 in the lead, our MIBR.
I always find this when I watch Verno that he looks like a player above his age. Like, because in that moment, you could forgive him to go, oh, if that guy's fought like 3 of my teammates, I can probably just go in and kill him. But he's like, nope, I'll wait 4 seconds, and then it's like 3.7 seconds. He's like, and now I'm fighting. Because I know that he can't plant the spike anymore. I'll just sit in the back line and make sure this round is over, and then I'll be a little bit greedy with the kill. It's just smart stuff that basically makes it impossible for GRQ to get anything sure. He's got that run it back online. They have been farming up those orbs from all the way through the game, but we are yet to see that same heroic play that he was pulling out versus Heretics.
After a very competitive first map, it does feel like these last 2 have left something to be desired from all gamers. The last remaining hope.
Joke's over.
CN, here comes the ult. From GRQ, it's delayed for a moment. Flash lands nothing. Reveal is there, and it's shut down right off rip. Dive through. Bye-bye. No one's with them. And bye-bye indeed, it seems, to all gamers. We need someone to step up to fill these shoes as players drop across the board. Zekin's on 10 HP, and he survived that fight. Shot back for the kill, and with 9-1 on the board, is there any hope left for all gamers?
Okay, that is the second round I've now watched where Zekin 100% should have died.
He was
so,
dead to
but
rights.
bear in mind, they knew he was in that corner since the run it back. So that was when they still had their entirety of their team online. They then peek him from short as well, while swinging him at the same time. He ends up with 3 kills, and then the 4th player that runs in just goes, nah, I'm killing him, and just runs full swing, and it gets killed by Aspas because he's so tunnel visioned in on just getting a singular kill onto Zekin. Just look at the scoreboard. I think the bottom fragger right now on MIBR has 9 kills. There is nobody underperforming. And this is the team that was promised. This is why at the beginning of the year, you're almost laughing at the fact that Zekin has managed to go and join Aspas on the same team. You're almost looking at the fact that they've held on to Verno and built this superstar-studded roster. And it's not quite delivered, but when it does work, this is what you get. It feels like they are fighting a literal war. And everything they do, they just run headfirst into it.
That's been the same for the last map as well. Like, that first half was close. It was a chance to be 6-6 if I'm not mistaken. And then we swapped sides and MIBR ran away with things. Now, on this map, GRQ, look, he's top fragging at least. But I did think that, like, I liked the comp. I liked seeing them play last time. I think GRQ especially is a huge step up, and he wasn't bad so far in this series. So you imagine that ceiling's going to raise. Fangir, map 1, looked better than Aspas, which is one hell of a feat. But now it looks like he hasn't even started playing. Indeed, nobody had. They've got 1 round of the board. 9-3, the best scoreline that they can hope and pray for. And even then, the Divine will have to answer for them to have a chance. And perhaps he has. Aspas has made a mistake. He's missed a shot. A rare miss on one side, but then an immediate filling in of the blank shrimp. Tries on the wraparound, but look how confident Zekin is. He's running at them. Oh! And maybe he shouldn't be. Fangir, quiet so far, but now a chance against one of the world's best.
He's got nothing left, though. He's down to just a classic. He used his last headhunter bullet just to try and escape. And now with 7 HP, what he can hope for is that either Aspas makes a mistake or he can get towards that site and find a gun, but you can already tell that the information has been given over. A rifle in the hands of Aspas, and it really does just become a game of chicken. And at least for the moment, it seemed like the Brazilian had the right idea. Or maybe he still does. He's going back towards Spin. Okay, it's been long enough. Both players decided to move at the exact same moment, moving in tandem. Now, Aspas is low enough that the Classic could just do the work, but his opponent at this stage might end up running out of time. That's going to be the bigger problem. He has to now get in and get that plant. And in fact, Aspas was starting to believe that this was a move towards the other side of the map. Instead, now, he's got to go running back towards B.
And there's a TP available for Fang here, but he's not going to take the risk of even placing, and he doesn't know how close Aspas is. Of course, Aspas went to A thinking the spike had maybe been taken. He hadn't seen it for so long. As time ticks away, the info not yet given away. Aspas, he'll break the trap. He'll step forward as Fangir swings in, and Aspas lands the shot, digging a hole deeper for all gamers, burying them under round after round. This attack side, they may end the half with one.
It's looking more and more likely as they go by. An incredibly nice attempt from Fangir. This round shouldn't have been particularly close, especially after Zekken put him so desperately low and just seemed to have it dead to rights. This correction with a singular bullet left seemed like it might have been enough, but in the end, the final boss, look at the scoreboard. 11-11, 11-11, 10. Like, there really has just not been a missing piece to the MIBR puzzle. And, well, Zekken's getting more and more confident. In fact, this is a just sheer rundown. Bai is having to just try and hold on for life, and even an escape route doesn't exist. They are being surrounded, choked out, and they think maybe, okay, is this the open site? Is it the one that nobody's holding? No, it isn't. There's still one, now two, now three and a fourth. Wrapping round, and well, it was Verno to close 11-1. The team that faced off against GE is showing up once again.
Yeah, listen, I don't think there's many teams out there that would look at especially an elimination match and a qualification match at the same time and say, I'd like to face MIBR in that one. But you definitely don't want to face MIBR in this form. You know how strong of a player someone like Aspas can be. We've seen Tex from the very get-go be activated. But now Mazzino, Verno, they're there alongside him. Zekken looks like he's unkillable. The amount of times I've seen him take what for anyone else would be a death blow and keep on moving. Even at times having Aspas as his savior with the op wall bang.
I'll be honest. If he hadn't died a couple of rounds ago to the Headhunter, and you'd said to me, oh, he was in God mode by accident, I'd go, oh, you know what, actually that makes sense, because there were rounds where, yeah, he gets wallbang like that while being spammed out by an overdrive. The round after where he gets 3 kills while stuck in the same corner for a whole round, and then a player runs at him just to kill him, and Aspas goes, did you forget about me? Like, come on, guys. Like, please don't forget the guy who has a champion's gun buddy. But even still, even with every once in a while a glimmer of hope, it gets shot down. This was probably one of the best opportunities they had, and even still it didn't go their way. And right after that, a complete decimation. 11-1. It was a good defensive half last time out for all gamers, but at this point, every single round is like hanging off a cliff edge.
Well, yeah, a pistol round will end the game. More or less any round after that will end the game as well, even if you take it. All gamers have to be perfect. Maybe at 12-1 we can see a pause. I do think, though, like, the game that they played on map number 1, they made MIBR at times look like fools. They caught them off guard. They played double to triple fakes that worked almost every time. Bai was lurking in mid and catching so many players off guard. But once MIBR realized what was happening, once they had that time between maps to discuss, okay, how should we react to those kind of plays? How should we react to them pushing and pulling like that? Ever since then, they cracked the code, and all gamers haven't had that extra gear to shift into. Now,
they need the fan gear.
They need the fan gear if they're going to have any chance. And there he is to start it off.
Fan gear activated. I don't know what that means if you're still going for a car analogy, but who cares about that at this point? Anything that will work has to come through for all gamers. An opening pick is about the best scenario they've had, but Zekid just looks like he's hit a completely different gear, a different level. In fact, an even scenario. A nice work from GRQ, a player revealed, but they are losing as they go. Just the 2 players underneath. The flash is perfect, and a second round will come through. The lifeline has been garnered, and more importantly, GRQ getting most of those kills gets him closer to that ult.
Yeah, perhaps a consolation prize, but you never want to count yourself out. Remember, this isn't a situation where they can rely on a lower bracket. There's no extra layer. There is no safety net to fall into. It's a long way down and a long way back home for all gamers. This pistol guarantees them at least a bit of runway. And I was waiting to see if, as confident as they feel, they go in for the crazy force buy here, but MIBR are looking to get this over as quickly as possible in a more conventional way. And take the eco.
Back in a flash.
Fan gear an opportunity to pick up a couple more orbs, but it's really GRQ you want to see with a few coming out of this. The buy in the next for MIBR could be the beginning of the end. Keeping this clean as well is exactly what they want. All 5 alive for all gamers. It's a good start to the half.
Yeah, especially when they've invested on every single player. Like they have to do that. You can't be playing a conventional bonus round where you're risking it here and there. And for Fangir, getting a few additional orbs, it's not going to help him in this next round, but if he could do the work with the operator, he might be getting one for free. The problem is he lost all of his shields, so he's going to come back in with an operator, but no shields alongside it. It's a thin line between another round onto the board and his opponents with an operator on the attack.
A buy has been bypassed. Oh, he's just shot, but I don't think they've noticed just yet. Never mind. They turn on a dime, catch him off, but the trades keep on coming in favor of all gamers until they don't. Verno dropping Shrimp. Means the spike makes it to the site. Means a 3 versus 2 in the post plant. And there's not much to help all gamers get back into this. The operator would love a pick, but I think they've spotted it now. They've seen that big gun. A paranoia for Kira can perhaps, in fact, it could catch them all if it's at the right angle, but waiting to get into position before it's fired through. It'll find one towards the backside. Clean pickup on Aspis, but Tex was not blinded by it at this point for Fangir. 11-3, you need the round, but the time should be too far gone. And by now it most certainly is with 2 left to get. It's all about orbs. It's all about punishing the attacking side, making it costly, but nothing to be found. No op saved, and 3-piece for Verno gets 12-3 on the board. The beginning of the end is here.
Yeah, maybe he thought there was no way out, but I think at that stage, saving the operator holds so much more value than a singular kill. Like, that round was already over, and definitely mistakes starting to creep in a little bit more. I think Shrimp walking back into the site after they've already completely lost it, it just seems panicky. And you can understand why. Their tournament life is on the line. The last representative of VCT China. And it looks like America's might be getting one more team at least in towards the playoff stage. They are, however, a man up for now. Not a bad start.
Man to the good. Zekin down as well, the immortal man.
He bleeds.
Finally. Early pickup, but still some weaknesses here. They're certainly not out of the woods. Paranoia Prime fired through, caught one, but not the second player. Luckily, Aspis is quick to get out of there. He heard a shot coming at him from behind and bailed. Bai's now rotated in to help the squad, and Spawn still cut off by Kira with the flank up by Fangir. All Gamers have MIBR boxed in with a man advantage to play with as well. This is looking set for 12-4.
Yeah, they've got to run it back if they need it. GRQ sat at the back of the site, and that's exactly what he's going for now. Just try and make things even more awkward for them, even just a singular pick, but no. He's denied by text. The problem is, should now know that there's a decent amount of players at the back of this site. Aspas desperately low already, and Bai will hold his ground. The move towards the other side of the map doesn't even seem like an option anymore. They've only got 15 seconds to try and make this move, and although eventually we'll see a player lost, it's not going to matter too much, although, if he got that TP off, there was a chance at a plant, but Shrimp made sure it wasn't.
Yeah, they just got there in time to take him out before he slipped into the shadows. Another opportunity for the streak of rounds for a legendary comeback against some of the best that the world has to offer for All Gamers. They proved themselves on map number 1. But this task, it seems too tall for any team to make 8 rounds against MIBR in a row from this point forward. Tour de Force online for Fangir. I don't think he's going to be saving that for the next. Oh, I don't hear it popped.
Yeah, I think with the fact that they don't have the credits.
Yeah. Lose a player or two and the panic will kick in, but the Outlaw's perfect.
Yeah, all of them are one shot to the Outlaw anyway, bar
Let's accept Aspas.
Interestingly going for that hero gun in this round.
He's heard them, right? He's heard them, right? He's heard them, right? Oh my God! What is happening? They were stepping for the last 5 seconds. The man's deaf. He's unplugged his headphones. It's a 5v3. And Aspas has got by. The dawn of this series looked so bright for All Gamers. They pushed MIBR to the limits, but as dawn turns to day, a dark night on the horizon for VCTCN. They are going home, and MIBR push through the playoffs.
Yeah, it seemed like it was going to be a worrying day for MIBR with that first map. They had themselves in a pretty decent position, and then we saw the fight back from their opponents. But on map 2 and map 3, this is the MIBR we hoped to see here at EWC. A brilliant performance, adaptations in map 2, and map 3